turn off the lights. Take what you want from this. Try to catch me by surprise. Tell me what you wanna see. Bring me to the edge. Get me time and time again. We rise for miles above the world. On and on, let it burn all night. We won't even stop for the morning light. Oh, high above the clouds. On and on, let it burn all night. We keep rising up so high. Oh, miles and miles. Turn it on, let it run all night. Won't even stop.
He's into the end zone for the touchdown. That's 6.
Welcome to Mustang Panther Stadium. It is Week 8 action of the high school football season in 2025. Here from Mustang Panther tonight, it's the visiting Seguin Cougars at 5-2 on the year, and the Colleyville Heritage Panthers a win last week coming off the bye week over Everman, 40-14, the final score for Colleyville. And now they're trying to defend their home turf against Seguin. Alongside Tremel Jeffers on the color commentary tonight, and for our technical director, Zach Jones, I'm Josh Warden. Pleased to be with you for Week 8 here in 2025. And Tremel, it'll be a big one. We'll talk about the standings as we go a couple times here in this pregame show, but in terms of what this means for the district standings, it's going to be a big one tonight.
Oh, absolutely going to be a big game today. And it's no better than to have a big game on your own home field. So I'm excited about that tonight. It's going to be real exciting. If you're tuning in, make sure you stay tuned in.
Colleyville, like I said, coming off the bye, they had lost to Argyle 58-35 at home. It was their first home district loss under Jeff Edwards in his head coaching tenure. This is his third season at Colleyville. So they had the bye week to think about it, prepare both for Everman, but then this game was looming pretty large. They took care of Everman on the road. Like I said, 40-14 the final score. But it seemed like of the first couple games coming out of the bye week, this one may have been circled a little bit more, although the Everman game was a good one for Colleyville. They seemed like they did pick up some tempo, and they were in rhythm last week at Everman.
They were. They handled business last week. They came off the bye week. They started district play 0-2. They finally got their first win in district play, so that was big for them. And they just pretty much dominated the entire game. I know the score was only 40-14. We put in the backups in the fourth quarter, and they pretty much handled business. They controlled the tempo, they sustained drives, and they got stops on defense. They let up a couple later on in that fourth quarter, like I said, when the backups came in. But they handled business, and it wasn't a trap game.
A 26-point win for Colleyville. Now, you mentioned the record, 2-2 in district, 3-3 overall for the Panthers. It may not be indicative. You'll hear Jeff Edwards say that in our pregame interview. You'll hear the head coach in a pregame interview shortly, but he made the claim that record isn't indicative of what our team has been able to do, will be able to do, and the status of his team overall. in large part because they have a front-loaded schedule. I mean, it was a pretty hard – they've already played Argyle, for example, and so not to say things will get easier the rest of the way, but it's also not crazy to say things might get easier the rest of the way.
Yeah, it's with Argyle, you've seen your toughest test on the season, or at least in district play so far. You've seen your toughest test. So there's nothing that's going to surprise you moving forward in district play. So they've got the Giants out the way. You got Timberview out the way. You got Argyle out the way. Doesn't mean that we're not going to see any more quality teams because you still have this Arlington Seguin Cougars team, and then you have Mansfield Summit next week. So we still have some good teams that we're going to see, but with the Giants, we've gotten them out the way.
Yeah. Now let's take a quick look at Seguin before we take a break and then come back with Jeff Andrews in our head coaching interview. Seguin, meanwhile, coming off the Argyle game, and they had a fairly similar result to Colleyville. They also lost to Argyle. Their final score was 41-24. So a competitive game, but arguably the best team in the district did ultimately come out on top last week. Seguin now is on a 2-game losing streak. They fell to Mansfield Timberview by 1 touchdown 2 weeks ago. Those are their only losses on the season. They were 5-0 up until they reached October. So Seguin is now a team that started out really hot and is now trying to prove that 5-0 start was no fluke.
Yes, so with this Cougars team, it's all about consistency. So you look at a common opponent that they played, the Red Oak Redhawks. They played them in week 2, the week after we lost to Red Oak. Red Oak beat us by 8 points. It was 20-12. The next week, they went and faced Seguin, and Seguin beat them 41-34. So that's a common opponent that they share. Also in district play, you mentioned that Seguin started off 5-0, and now they've lost 2 in a row. You look at one of the district games against Grapevine. That was an opponent that they should have handily beaten. They should have blown him out of the water, but they struggled that entire game. They came out flat. They didn't play their A game, and they ended up finishing it off in overtime. They did get the win, but it wasn't Cougar football that they played. They didn't play Cougar football. They played with their food, and it came back and bit them, but eventually they got the job done in overtime. And then they took care of business against the Colony, 68-30. And then their last 2 matchups were against 2 of the top teams in the district, against Mansfield Timberview, a really good football club that we saw earlier in the season. They lost to them 30-23. They were down by 20 points in that game. They made a late comeback, but they just ran out of time. And then their last matchup was against Argyle, which is the best team in district. They were pretty competitive for the most part, but Argyle just ran away with it, 41-24. So the thing is with the Cougars, which team are you going to get? That's what we're going to see tonight.
You mentioned the common opponents. Seguin 2-2 against those common opponents. Colleyville 1-3. Like you said, the Colony, Argyle, Mansfield, Timberview, and Red Oak, which is the one game where these 2 teams did not have the same result. Seguin beat Red Oak. Colleyville did not. And thus the one common opponent there where they split and did not have the same result. So Colleyville 2-1 here at this venue this season at Mustang Panther Stadium. Seguin 1-0. They had that overtime win over Grapevine here, and they're trying to win a couple games from this venue here in 2025. Kickoff about 20 minutes away. We've got about a 10-minute conversation with Jeff Andrews on the other side of this break, the head coach for Colleyville Heritage. We'll chat with him. And we'll step aside here in the pregame show. Happy to be with you for Colleyville versus Seguin here on Tradio.
Do you know what makes a biscuit a Bo biscuit? There it is. Small batch biscuits, just minutes from the oven, with crunchy hand-breaded chicken. Now you know. The Carolina legend is here. If you know, you Bo.
Compass Church is for you. Join us each week to experience great music, a message that applies to your everyday life, as well as programming for your kids and students to engage on their level. Learn more at compass.church.
All right, welcome back on the pregame show. Looking forward to this game at 7 p.m. tonight. Coach Jerry Edwards joins us now. Coach, thanks for your time here. Appreciate it. Let's take a look back at last week's game. Congratulations on the win on the road over Everman, 40-14 was the final score. road wins aren't easy to get. I'm guessing. How would you assess overall last week's game and getting a big win?
Well, I thought we did good. I think we did kind of have a little rust that we needed to knock off coming off a bye week. It was a week that we needed to kind of get healthy again and get ready to go for the second half of the season. But I was really proud of our team and how they went out and executed. We took control of that game early, took a lead into halftime. And then they were able to come out and kind of close that thing out and put some points on the board. And our defense did a good job of limiting what they did offensively. And then our special teams showed up pretty big last week. And so, a complete game for us coming off a bye week is what we wanted to see. The whole message last week was, we want to try to run the table the second half of district and make sure that we secure a playoff spot. And it started with Everman. Kind of creating that snowball effect. We want to pack the snowball and kick it down the mountain and get that thing rolling. And so that Everman game was kind of our pack the snowball game. And so we're hoping to carry that momentum into this week as well.
That's great. You mentioned the bye week. Were there some things you were able to implement with some extra practice time that helped both in that week, but maybe even now back to a normal, shorter week of practice that will be helpful even going forward that you use during that bye week?
We did use the bye week to prepare for the second half. Basically for us, we've been playing at a very high level, both offensively and defensively throughout the season. I kind of like I told Will last week, our record in the first 5 games is really not indicative of how good of a football team we are. And so basically what we did is we got back to basics during our bye week. We just worked on some fundamental stuff that we knew that we would see in the coming future, especially tonight. We did take a little time during the bye week to work on Seguin in their scheme and what they do. So during the bye week, we did kind of forward think about the back half of our schedule to put our team in the best position to try to go 5-0 in the second half.
We'll come back to that matchup with Seguin in just a moment. I want to ask one more question, just kind of the scope of the whole season in terms of leadership. Who are some of the guys, maybe both the guys you expected to be big leaders in the locker room, and maybe a couple of, whether they're upperclassmen, whoever it may be, that you've been pleasantly impressed by how they've stepped up and called others out and lifted them up? Any guys you want to point out of being impressively good leaders on this team, especially as the season's gone along?
Have done a tremendous job. Wes DK, Joey Nisbet, Dax Hebeson, and Bodie Weaver. 2 of those guys are offensive guys, 2 of them are defensive guys. And so both of them, all 4 of them do a tremendous job of getting our team going. And they take turns kind of taking on that leadership role on their respective side of the ball. But really and truly, our seniors have done a tremendous job. They want to leave with a good impression this year and achieve some things that, maybe Colleyville hadn't achieved in the past. And you can see that in how they approach every day, and you can really tell how good a team leadership is when you do the little things. Practices and games are easy, but what is it like when you're in the weight room after a practice? Or what is it like when we're in a film session after a long day of school? Are you attentive? Are you holding people accountable? And those guys have done a tremendous job of doing that. And just the things away from the field to ensure that we're successful. They've done a tremendous job with the leadership part of it.
Yeah. Coach Jerry Edwards joining us here on the pregame show ahead of this matchup with Seguin. Let's talk about Seguin now. You mentioned even looking ahead during the bye week. What things stood out on film, things that you've known from years past, and just the things that they do best that will present some problems for you on this Friday night game?
Well, they're a little bit different than what they were last year. It's our second time playing them. This year the quarterback is back. He's kind of their go-to guy. He's the one that beats you with his feet, leads their offense. They do have a receiver that is electric, but a lot of the offense goes through the quarterback. A lot of I've told our kids all week long, The pass game threat is quarterback scramble, really and truly. They run the receivers off down the field, and they will throw it every now and then. But if you look at them, their explosiveness in the pass game, it's a lot of the quarterback pulling the ball and taking off on a quarterback scramble. So we got to do a really, really good job of keeping him in the pocket and getting him down. We faced some mobile quarterbacks early in the season, so I feel really confident in our defense and our linebackers to make sure we keep him bottled up this week. Defensively, they fly around, they get lined up, they bring a lot of pressure. And so, we got to do a really good job on our offensive line to create some gap scheme running and get our running backs running downhill to open up the pass game for Bodie. And they're going to man us. And so our receivers got to do a really good job of winning those one-on-one battles out there on the perimeter, which they've done all year. And we need to continue to do. And then the third phase of the game is probably the biggest. If you look at their games over the course of this season, a lot of their touchdowns and scores have come off trick plays and special teams. They've done a lot. They do a lot of different stuff. They'll go for it on, fourth down to them is just another normal down. They'll get in a punt formation and fake it anywhere on the field at any point in the game. They do a lot of field goal fakes. And just a lot of trickeration. Every game that they've scored 7 to 14 points on some kind of special teams trick play. And so once again, we had to take time this week and kind of break that down and make sure our team's prepared and focused in and not let a 4th and 7 turn into a first down, just get the ball back and get our offense on the field.
Yeah. A couple final things with Coach Jerry Edwards. You mentioned quarterback scramble being a big part of their offense. Schematically for you, whether it's quarterback spy, if it's zone defense, it's easier for players to keep their eyes in the backfield. What do you feel works best, especially at this level, to not let quarterback scramble hurt you more than it otherwise would?
Well, that's always a struggle as a defensive guy myself. That's always been, and, we played the Hawkins kid that's at Oklahoma in the 4th round, my first year here. And, he kind of hurt us with his feet scrambling. And so, our defensive staff spent a lot of time kind of trying to figure out different ways and methods to put more eyes in the backfield and not have all our linebackers just displaced out in coverage. And so, but a lot of it starts with the front 4 up front, understanding your rush lane, understanding the depth that you're getting when you're rushing the quarterback and opening up holes. And then, we are going to, make sure that we got some linebackers that are extra box guys to make sure he doesn't take off on us. And so, a couple different things schematically that we'll do to make sure that we got at least 1, maybe 2 linebackers, sometimes 3 linebackers in the box, making sure that they can keep an eye on him so he doesn't get loose.
Yeah. And final thing for you, how would you assess your quarterback play, not just last week, over the course of the whole season? What has stood out to you that's made a big impact?
He's just been elite. That's the easiest way to put it. He's come in this year on a mission, and you can tell he's hyper-focused each and every week and each and every practice. You're talking about leadership roles, and, he's the first one that's going to hold the receivers and offensive line accountable. But he backs it up with his play. I mean, he's extended numerous plays this season. He's a big problem for any defense because he can buy time in the pocket and distribute the ball all over the field. And then, he can light you up if he's running. And so it's really hard from a defensive perspective to go, what are you going to take away? And, as good as he's been, our receiving core has been tremendous as well. We had 4 different receivers score touchdowns last week. And then if you look at the receptions across 4 or 5 receivers, it's pretty evenly distributed. And so, as a defensive guy myself, that would pose a big problem. It's like, what receiver do you take away? And then if you try to take away all 4, then he's going to hurt you with his legs running the ball. And so I'm glad he's on our team because he has been electric and he's done a tremendous job. And he's just, he's been a lot of fun to watch for me, as the head coach, and just sitting back on the sideline, getting a front row seat to see what he can do. And some of the plays he's made this year have been absolutely amazing. And we need that. And he makes our offense very explosive and very efficient when he's locked in and ready to go and doing in running our offense the way it needs to be ran. He's been tremendous for us.
That's great. Well, best of luck. Thanks so much for your time, Coach.
I appreciate it. Go Panthers.
All right, there is head coach Jeff Edwards. Thanks to Coach Edwards for his time. I appreciate he's got a lot on his plate every week, game planning, so to take some time out to chat was nice. And I think he's right. It's going to be tough. Mobile quarterbacks are so tough to defend. Seguin's gotten a good one in Chevy Andrews today, and so he's going to have his hands full today with a lot of different things, but especially a mobile quarterback.
Yeah, they face so many mobile quarterbacks this season that they should be prepared for it by now. Week 1 against Red Oak, I think that's the most mobile quarterback that you'll see in Billy Middleton. 4.3 speed, has a cannon of an arm. He did get the best of them, but after that, they've been better against mobile quarterbacks. They still struggle at times, but it's nothing that they haven't seen this year. So they should fare well against it. They should have some spies at that Mike linebacker looking for him and making sure he doesn't break off for a big one.
Well, let's take another break, and we'll come back, go through some starting lineups and some other key points leading up to kickoff, less than 10 minutes away from getting this thing started between Colleyville, Heritage, and Seguin. Thanks for joining us tonight for Week 8 high school football on Tradio.
From your first paycheck to your first home, starting your own business, or celebrating your retirement, we're here for all of life's important moments. At Simmons Bank, our modern banking solutions make managing your finances effortless and efficient, so you can focus on what matters most. Simmons Bank, proud supporter of the moments that matter. SimmonsBank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender, all accounts subject to approval.
Welcome back on the pregame show. A big game today, district standings-wise, between Colleyville and Seguin, two teams that are right in the middle of these standings. If the season ended today, Seguin would be in the playoffs. Colleyville would not be. Seguin and Timberview tied at 3-2. The top 4 teams make it in. So Colleyville got some ground to make up tonight.
Yeah, they have a lot of ground to make up. If you let this one fall, then it's going to be a lot of hoping and a lot of watching and hoping that your opponents lose games. And you don't ever want to be in that situation, especially with the games decreasing now. We're almost towards the end of the season now, so this is the time where you really want to handle business. Like you mentioned, Colleyville is right there on the outside looking in. They're just half a game behind Seguin due to having a bye week. Seguin hasn't had their bye week yet, so Seguin has one more win. But a win for Colleyville will put them in the driver's seat, and they will pretty much be in the driver's seat for their destiny. They control their destiny going into the postseason. But they have to take care of business here today against a very good opponent.
We mentioned the tough schedule. Colleyville, with the teams above them, they've already played Timberview. They've already played Argyle. After tonight, they will have already played Seguin. And so there's the tough schedule. If they win tonight, they're in the driver's seat for a really strong spot at the postseason. But if they lose, all of a sudden, shoot, you're 2-3, and that's a difficult hill to climb the rest of the season.
Yeah, especially when you don't own any tiebreakers either. Yeah, it's really difficult to climb.
Okay, so a huge game tonight for Colleyville and Seguin, both teams with huge implications tonight. Like we said, Seguin, if the season ended today, they're in the postseason, and Colleyville is not, which is especially surprising. Colleyville's on a 19-year streak of making the postseason. They could get to 20 this year, but not if the season ended today, so this is huge.
Yeah, huge. Like you said, 19 years in a row. It just shows you the consistency with this program. And even with head coach Jerry Edwards, his consistency, this is year 3 for him. He's gotten them in the playoffs every year, and he's had success elsewhere at Mansfield schools, and I can't remember the other school he was at, but he's had success in his career. So I think they get the job done today. He's going to be well prepared. He's been battle-tested in his career, so really shouldn't be a lot to worry about as long as Colleyville comes out and does what they're supposed to do.
The captains out there meeting for the coin toss. We haven't talked about Bodie Weaver yet. We mentioned Chevy Andrews, the starting quarterback for Seguin. You've seen Bodie Weaver, the UTEP commit. When we asked Jeff Andrews about his description of his quarterback play so far. His word was elite. What word would you use for Bodie Weaver this season?
The same thing, and if I had to choose one myself, dynamic.
Okay.
He's awesome. I mean, he can throw it in the pocket. He can throw it on the run. He can get out there on the quarterback bootlegs. He can improvise. I mean, he does it all. He showed you why he's a Division I talent and why he's committed to play at the University of UTEP. He's a very good quarterback, the best quarterback in the district, in my opinion, and one of the best quarterbacks in the state of Texas, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got the best quarterback in the district, that's going to take you a long ways, at least one would hope, but they've got a tough task today against Seguin. The other thing we mentioned, we talked about Seguin's dynamic quarterback play and rushing. Bodie Weaver has the same thing with his legs as well.
Yeah, but better.
He'll look to use that tonight. Should be a great quarterback matchup. Should be a great matchup overall between these two teams. Just a couple minutes away from kickoff here from Mustang at Panther Stadium. Colleyville had the recent bye. Jeff Andrews, I thought, made an interesting comment. Usually you're game planning and looking ahead to the whole season, but they were game planning for Seguin already, even though they weren't the first game out of the bye week.
Yeah, that's what you have to do when you're on a bye week. You have that extra time to prepare, so you want to get that upcoming week. You want to get that prepared. You want to scout them, and then you also want to look ahead of schedule as well. And looking at the standings, that was kind of mandatory. This is a huge game, like we mentioned, with huge playoff implications on them. So that was something that they really needed to do, and I'm glad that they jumped ahead of schedule.
The Panthers taking the field here at their home stadium at Mustang Panther Field. They're in the red jerseys tonight. Seguin in the white uniforms with the blue trim this evening. Here from Grapevine, after Colleyville went on the road last week to Everman and put up 40 points on the road. We'll see if that offense can put up similar numbers here tonight at home. In a good matchup against Seguin, again at 3-2 in district, 5-2 overall for the Cougars. They're 2-1 on the road as well, so they've handled road trips pretty good this season. A same 2-1 record at home for Colleyville this season.
Yeah, pretty identical teams. That's why they're right next to each other in the standings. So we're gonna get a really good one.
If Colleyville wins, they will be up to 3-2 and ahead with the tiebreaker over Seguin here tonight, with Seguin playing on the road here in this matchup, but obviously not a super long drive from Arlington. Here's a look at the starting lineups. We begin with the Panthers. This is the offensive line. One of the captains at left tackle, West Dalio Kubik, Gavin Cornwell, Hayes Patterson, Chandler Sampson, and Muhammad Ramadan. The offensive line tasked with protecting Bodie Weaver and opening up running lanes for Gerard Wiley and his running back counterpart. Some of the skilled position players, here's the wide receivers, Trevi Pryshep, Connor Supin-Casey, and Landon Dressel, who is also the kicker for this team for Colleyville. Some of the main guys who will be catching passes from Bodie Weaver. 4 different guys caught a touchdown pass from Bodie Weaver last week as he spread the wealth around. And then the backs and for Colleyville, Gerard Wiley, the starting running back, Blake Wendler, the tight end, and there's the quarterback we've been talking about, Bodie Weaver. Some good skill position players that Weaver has to work with Colleyville.
Oh, yeah, he can spread the wealth. He has so many weapons to choose from in his arsenal, and the last few weeks they've done a fantastic job of just picking their plays and picking when they want to catch the ball. He has so many players to throw it to, and he's definitely utilized everywhere. We're going to pause for the national anthem.
Well, just a few minutes away from kickoff. The sun just set about 10 minutes ago out to our left beyond the west end zone, and we are almost ready for football here at Mustang Panthers Stadium. Let's take a look at the defensive front for Colleyville. The tough task against Seguin. Demarius Logan, DeMarshe Logan, Nehemiah Olewola, and William Kennedy, the front four for the Panthers. The linebackers, one of the captains, Dax Hebeson, Joe Nisbet, and Camden Blackson for Colleyville. And linebackers for this squad, they'll rotate some guys, but some of the big names we'll be talking about making a lot of tackles. And then in the secondary for Colleyville, Chase Gibson, the junior, one of the cornerback spots. Of course, Hayden West, one of their most dynamic players on either side of the ball. And then Will Hummer and Eli Woolery filling out the defensive backfield for Colleyville. We've seen a lot of good players for this Colleyville secondary. How would you say they've been playing, especially the secondary this season?
The secondary is hit or miss, but we also have to factor in that they've played some really talented receivers that are going D1. You had Braden Robinson that's going to Notre Dame. He's a 4-star commit. You had 2 receivers that were at Argyle that are D1 commits. You had another receiver from the Colony who's going to the University of Tulsa. So they've seen a lot of D1 talent, a lot of P4 talent. But they've held their own at times. They do make mistakes sometimes, but for the most part, they're able to hold their own. You're not just going to get whatever you want.
Well, we are underway here at Mustang Panther Stadium. Landon Dressel boots it into the end zone over the head of Jonathan Polk. A touchback for Colleyville off the big leg of Dressel, who has a 38-yard field goal this season. And we are ready for the Seguin offense, who will be on the field first. They'll be working from left to right in their white uniforms towards the east end zone here at Mustang Panther Stadium. Colleyville in the red uniforms today. Defense on the field first. Chevy Andrews, the starting quarterback for Seguin. Dynamic players, got some Division I offers. A dual threat quarterback will start out of the shotgun with Kadarius Trotter to his right. First snap from the 25-yard line, looks left on a pump and go, has a man down the sideline. It's caught down the line and going out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Jamani Smith on a double move and a big play right off the bat for Seguin.
Not the way you want to start that game. Like you mentioned, that pump and go really got him here. If you look at this replay here, a little pump, he did a double move, and he beats his man in coverage for a huge gain to start this first quarter.
Single coverage, Eli Woolery was all alone. And a big gain all the way down to the 35-yard line for Seguin. A handoff to Kadarius Trotter. He breaks it out to the right side and is spun down after a pickup of 4.
We're going to need those linebackers to really fly and swarm to the ball today. That's going to be a big key and a big factor in this ball game.
After a gain of 40 on the first play of the game for Seguin, Chevy Andrews to Jamani Smith. And then a modest gain on 1st and 10 for the Seguin offense, nearly to the 30-yard line already. 2 plays in. Shotgun formation for Chevy Andrews with a back on either side. Just one safety over the top for Colleyville. It's a handoff up the middle, and Colleyville does well to plug the gaps right up the middle. And maybe a yard for Seguin.
So these are the type of third down situations you want to be in. 3rd and modest, 3rd and long. We're looking at about a 3rd and 5 here on this drive. After a deep shot and after a huge chunk that they gave up on the first play of the game, now they've kind of slowed it down, and they've got everything in front of them now. So let's see if Colleyville can get off the field.
Deshaun Ware on the carry. They use a running back by committee, but really no gain on the play for Ware. So 3rd down and 6 after a huge gain on the first play of the drive, first play of the game. But Colleyville could force a 3rd down stop. I'll look for the handoff to Trotter. Breaks through over the left side, stutter steps, gets the first down, and continues rolling all the way to the 20-yard line. It's a pickup of 11 for Kadarius Trotter.
And that time, that was all Kadarius Trotter on that play. He was trying to go into that B gap. Nothing was there, so he bounces out, and then he makes a couple of juke moves and picks up a nice 11-yard gain to get them a 1st down.
Tristan Robinson is the left tackle for Seguin, a senior on that left side of the line. Will Hear his name a lot. Braylon Johnson, the other tackle for Seguin. Angel Tenna is the center, standing over the ball, and he'll snap it back to Chevy Andrews, reaching the red zone. Andrews throws to the left side on an out route. A difficult catch, but it looked like it was brought in right at the sticks on an out route, and it's pulled in by Polk. Jonathan Polk on a gain of 10.
Good coverage there by Woolery. It's one deep safety, so that means you're going to get man coverage on some side. So he was man-to-man with his guy, and he had great coverage and doesn't give up much on that play.
They do give him a first down. It'll be 1st and goal from the 10-yard line. They can no longer get a first down as they make their way towards the Panthers end zone, towards the east end zone. Can Seguin take an early lead on their first drive? Press coverage on the right side on the near sideline against Seguin. Man in motion through the formation. It is a little toss and nothing doing for Seguin. It was officially a pass to Jamani Smith. He was ahead of Chevy Andrews, caught the ball really on a sweep play, but just got back to the line of scrimmage.
And Colleyville sniffed it out the entire way. Just a missed tackle in the backfield, but he still doesn't really pick up much. Everybody swarmed to the ball, and it was a good stance by Colleyville's front seven.
I'll give him 1 yard on the play. 2nd and goal from the 9-yard line. Jamani Smith, who caught that 40-yard pass on the first play of the game. A much more modest gain of just 1 yard on that play. Seguin pulls out a lot of trick plays as Jeff Andrews, the head coach, especially on 4th downs, now under center. Chevy Andrews takes the snap. It's a pitch play to the right side. Schroeder with a lot of momentum. He's pushed out around the 5-yard line. A good tackle for Colleyville. It was Connor Supankasey. Or I believe it was Camden Blackson, I should say. And towards the sideline on the near side, and a gain of about 4 for Kadarius Trotter.
So here it's looking like the Cougars are in 4-down territory. So you would expect for them to set up something here on 3rd down for their next play on 4th down if they don't score.
Jamani Smith, the wide receiver, out to the far sideline. It's Jonathan Polk on the near sideline. A man in motion back into the fullback position. Under center, Andrews will throw towards the end zone. Smith dives, falls down. Did he hold on to it? Yes, he did. Touchdown, Seguin. Jamani Smith, who had the 40-yard catch to open the drive, finishes it off. And Seguin leads this ball game 6-0.
Again, the Cougars are exposing that left side on man coverage. It was man coverage. They hit him with the play action, and he throws a nice fade to the left side of the end zone to put the Cougars up 6.
A 5-yard touchdown pass for Chevy Andrews to Jamani Smith on a fade route just inside the far sideline. The PAT is up and good for Seguin. They lead at 7-0. Oscar Lopez, the junior, pounds it through. 7-0. The Cougars lead it. One drive into this ball game with 7:38 to go. We'll take a brief break and come back for the first offensive drive for Colleyville when we return. First quarter action continues after this on Tradio.
Every game is filled with moments that matter, ones you will never forget. At cliprip.com, we make it easy to relive those moments again and again. Browse and download your favorite plays from Game Broadcast by Tradio instantly. Whether you are a player building a reel, a parent capturing memories, or a fan playing that perfect drive, your moment is ready to clip and rip. Clip the moment, rip the highlight. Visit cliprip.com today.
Well, thank you to the Football Boosters Club, Classic Chevrolet, Bojangles. Our thanks to all the sponsors here on Tradio as Colleyville finds themselves down 7-0 before they take the ball for the first time, and that ball was touched right near the goal line. It goes out of bounds, and it'll be a touchback for Colleyville. They'll take over at the 25, just like Seguin did. It was an 8-play, 75-yard drive. Really impressive work for Seguin.
Yeah, really impressive. They hit us with the first play with a big deep shot and got a big chunk on their first drive, and then they just continued to sustain it, and they hit us with a balanced attack with a couple of runs and a couple of throws.
He plays 75 yards. It took 4 minutes and 22 seconds off the clock. Now our first look at Bodie Weaver tonight. The quarterback for Colleyville stands in the shotgun with Gerard Wiley. Handoff to the left, and a pretty good room up the middle for Colleyville. Actually, it was Gabriel Bess who gets the first carry of the game out of shotgun, and Bess picks up a pretty solid gain, about 8 yards for the running back.
And that's very encouraging. I believe that was one of the keys to the game. You need to really establish a physical presence. The last 3 weeks, the Cougars have given up a 100-yard rusher, so Colleyville needs to establish the run with the running game, with the running backs.
2nd and 2, left hash mark, a design quarterback keeper for Weaver. Breaks it out to the right side and has just enough room to get to the 40-yard line. Maybe one more yard as a first down for Weaver on a design run. Pickup of about 5 or 6.
Yeah, those two things are going to complement each other. Bodie Weaver on the design runs, and then the running backs also having success running it. There you see Bodie Weaver on this replay on the design run, makes a couple of moves, and then he gets to that outside and picks up the first down for the Panthers.
Weaver is easily the leading rusher on this team, has more than twice as many yards as any of the running backs. And his first play is a rush. Here's his first pass of the game. It's a little handoff, essentially, technically a pass, but it'll go for negative yards. Good play by Seguin on the outside. And that catch for Colleyville going to Lucas Sunwall, and he loses a yard.
Yeah, nice design, sweet play for the Panthers, but that time Seguin was all over it. They sniffed it out, and they set the edge pretty well on that one.
Chevy Andrews' first pass went for 40 yards. Bodie Weaver's first pass went for -1 yards. They're still in decent field position, though. 40-yard line. Here's his second pass play of the game. Rushing out to his right under pressure by a horde of Cougars. He gets rid of it. As he's reaching the sideline, it did go past the line of scrimmage. It's an incomplete pass for Bodie Weaver. Sets up a 3rd and 11.
At that time, the pocket collapsed, forcing Bodie Weaver to have to scramble to his right. And as he's running, the pressure gets to him. There's nobody open, so he just had to throw that one away to evade the sack.
A lot of guys would have gotten sacked there. At least it's not a 3rd and 15, 3rd and 18. If he had gotten wrapped up in the offensive backfield, he manages to turn it back and throw it away. So shotgun formation in 3rd and 11. They need to get just past the midfield stripe. This time has a lot more time in the pocket. It holds clean. Throws to the outside, nearly intercepted. It might have been a house call. Had to been able to hold on to it. It was Keith Hoffman, the linebacker, in and out of his hands, in an incomplete pass, which turned out to be a good thing for Colleyville because that could have been 6 the other way.
Yeah, luckily that was dropped because Hoffman read that out the entire time. He sniffed that play the entire way, and he got there. He got his hands on it. He just couldn't haul it in, luckily for the Panthers, and now they're going to have to punt on 4th down.
From the 40-yard line, for Seguin, back to receive is Jonathan Polk. The kick is nearly blocked. He goes over Polk's head, lands at the 14-yard line, and will bounce end over end into the end zone. And a touchback off the foot of Landon Dressel. A 60-yard punt for Dressel, who had a kickback earlier to begin this ball game. Colleyville goes scoreless in their first offensive drive. Not a 3-and-out. They got 1 first down, but stalled after that. And they punted away. Seguin will start at their own 20-yard line.
I mean, this is a very important series for the Panthers defense. You don't want to get behind double digits, so you have to get a stop here, especially in this type of game with the implications that lie on the line.
So Seguin's second offensive possession of this ball game, starting from the 20-yard line, just inside the right hash mark. Chevy Andrews, who had the touchdown pass, this time throws the out route to Jamani Smith, and he is shoved out of bounds after a gain of about 6. Actually, it's a different wide receiver out on that outside boundary. That was Chase Anderson, gets his first catch of the night.
In those type of plays there, those are the same as handoffs. You want to get about 3 to 4 yards per carry, and that time they just throw a quick out route. They pick up 4 to stay on schedule. Those are the type of plays that will keep you on schedule and ahead of schedule.
Chevy Andrews has completed all 5 of his passes tonight for 61 yards so far this evening, including a 5-yard touchdown. And they lead at 7-0 halfway through this first quarter. Second down and about 4 yards for the Cougars. A little bit of motion, and it's a handoff up the middle. Trotter is brought down by a host of Panthers. And a good play defensively for Colleyville, both Dax Hebeson as well as Hayes Patterson on the tackle.
Dax Hebeson, he's really good against the run. You see him right here on this play. It's actually Isaiah Omar, and there's Dax Hebeson there. Gets around on the edge and makes the tackle. Good pursuit by this defensive line.
Yeah, it was Omar, you're right, who's coming off of injury. He hasn't played in a couple of weeks. And Jeff Andrews saying he'll be somewhat limited tonight, but he should be back. And he is in there playing for Colleyville. It's a big presence on the defensive line. Here's a third down for Seguin. Chevy Andrews steps up in the pocket, evades, and gets the first down. A hard tackle just past the 35-yard line, but Chevy Andrews from the 24 picks up all the way to the 37.
And that was able to happen because the Panthers were playing man coverage. Everything was covered downfield. He just took off quick. Andrews took off quick and ran with it, picks up the first down. Good athleticism, and he shows you why we talked about him earlier in the pregame with his athleticism and his ability to run the football.
So 1st and 10 for Seguin at the 37-yard line between the hash marks. A pair of running backs on either side for Chevy Andrews. 3 wide receivers. Takes the snap and gives to Trotter. Plunges up the middle and stumbles near the 40-yard line. A short gain for Trotter. Sets up a second and about 9. Give him 1 yard on the play. 7-0. Seguin leads it. 3 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the first quarter. Seguin looking to score on both drives. Difficult task for Jeff Andrews and this coaching staff for Colleyville to handle a good offensive team for Seguin. They're coming off the Argyle loss. They started this year 5-0. They're 5-2 now. They want to snap this 2-game losing streak, and they lead at 7-0. Under center, Andrews on a play action. Stutter step, throws to the outside, right on the money to Jamani Smith. Breaks one tackle, and he can't break the second, but it's another first down for Seguin.
They really have, just like Colleyville, they have a good group of receivers as well, and they're showing you so far on these first 2 drives of the game. They've sustained the drives, and they've really controlled the clock so far in this one. There's only 3 minutes left in this ball game. They've controlled the clock in time of possession.
Gain of 16 for Jamani Smith. Late first quarter here from Mustang Panthers Stadium, and Seguin once again on the move up to the 45-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Cougars. Smith calling out the signals. And handoff up the middle. Again to Trotter. Tries to bulldoze his way for some yardage, and he gets maybe 1 yard. It'll be 2nd and 9, just like last series for Seguin. They've already picked up a couple first downs on this drive.
Panthers are doing a good job on first down. They're winning on first down, but on 2nd and 3rd is where they're getting hit. And they really have to do something here on 2nd down. They need a negative play or a play for no gain to set them up for success for a 3rd and long.
Their offense has only been on the field for 1 drive, and it was a pretty short drive, just 5 plays and a punt. And we've only got 2 minutes to go in this first quarter. Seguin controlling so far. Quick out route from Chevy Andrews. Finds his man, Jonathan Polk, towards his own sideline. Hauls it in, gets inside the 40-yard line. Gain of 5 on the pitch and catch.
So the Panthers are playing a lot of man coverage. They only have 1 safety in the back of the secondary, and Andrews sees it, and he's just going to take what the defense gives him to set them up for something short on 3rd down.
Methodical so far for Chevy Andrews. He has completed all 7 of his passes, including a pump-and-go 40-yard gain on his first pass of the contest. But now he's got to convert on 3rd and 4 from just inside the 40-yard line. 3-man front for Colleyville. Andrews rolls out to his right, has blocking, has a man, throws a little bit low to Jamani Smith. It's his first incompletion of the night. Good coverage on the outside for Colleyville to force the 3rd down stop. I wouldn't be surprised if Seguin went for it, but good coverage on the outside.
Yeah, very good coverage there by Chase Gibson. He makes plays. He makes really good plays in that secondary. That was a big one that they really needed there on third down, and it does look like the Cougars are going to go for it on fourth down.
4th down and 4. Jeff Andrews, the head coach for Colleyville, saying Seguin just treats 4th down just like any other play. And Colleyville kind of does the same thing. We may see a lot of 4th down attempts tonight. Here's the first one. 4th and 4. Andrews steps up, throws to the outside in between a couple receivers. I think he thought his man was going to cut the other way. Not on the same page with Jamani Smith. And it's a turnover on downs at the 39-yard line.
Yep, and it all started on that great coverage on third down. It forces Seguin to make a choice. Were they going to go for it on fourth, or were they going to pin us back deep? They decided to go for it, and that time on fourth down, it's miscommunication. And now the Panthers' offense is set up in good field position.
Chevy Andrews had completed his first 7 passes, but then the next 2 incomplete on 3rd and 4th down. So the drive ends from the 39-yard line. Bodie Weaver on his first pass of this drive. A little dunk down pass to the outside and a good gain. His first positive play. He had -1 passing yards up until that play. And he finds a man out of the backfield. Looks like it was Bess who makes the catch.
Yeah, Gabe Bess, he's really getting involved in the receiving game. Last week, he had about 3 catches out of the backfield. Colleyville really utilized those running backs in the receiving game, and that's something I would like to see them continue to do here in this one.
Gain of 8 for Bess from Bodie Weaver. Throws this one to the outside. It is caught. A spin move right at midfield. And good fight to the outside. Probably got the first down. Looks like he did. A pitch and catch to Lucas Sunwall. And Colleyville moves the sticks.
Yep, just a short pass to Lucas Sunwall, getting him involved. His first catch of the night. That's going to get him going. That's an encouraging sign to see there. And it's the same as a run. That helps your run game out as well, those short passes.
Gain of 5. And a first down past midfield for Colleyville. There's a good lane for Gabe Bess. Fights through over the left side and is brought down by Keith Hoffman, who nearly had the interception on the last drive. Hoffman makes the stop here after a 5-yard gain for Gabe Bess.
Yeah, that's an encouraging sign. Colleyville is picking up some good chunks on their rushing plays so far. Something that we really struggle with is the run game with the running backs, but today they're showing some good signs.
Bodie Weaver, empty backfield, steps up on 2nd down. He's going to run with it. A flag comes out. He's tripped up near the 40-yard line. A good tackle by Cariel Brown comes out of the defensive backfield to make the play, but there is a flag. It was 2nd and 5. It may have been a holding call, and indeed it was on Colleyville. So they'll be backed up on 2nd down. It'll be about 2nd and 15, and they'll get back on their own side of midfield.
Yeah, those penalties hurt you. You see here on this replay, here's Bodie Weaver. The snap gets to him. He's surveying. He's looking for a man. He doesn't really see anything he likes. There's pressure coming in the backfield, so he just tucks it and runs. And then you see that holding there on the left guard.
Gavin Cornwell, I believe, the one who committed the hold. Still 2nd down for Colleyville. Back on their own side of midfield. 47-yard line for the Panthers. Only 4 seconds on the clock, and the referees are saying to run the clock. So we may not see another play here in the first quarter. And they do snap it, but it was after the clock hit 0. So that is it for the first quarter. Seguin goes into this first period break with a 7-0 lead. Colleyville is on the move near midfield on their 2nd drive of the game, with the offense picking up a little bit of steam. We'll see if they can turn this into points on their 2nd drive of this game. After 1 quarter of play, it's Seguin 7 and Colleyville yet to score. You're watching high school football action on Tradio.
American Power. Texas Drive, classic Chevrolet, #1 in the world, limited time, a special selection of new Chevys, more than anyone, all priced below market value. Plus, pre-owned values are up again. We're paying top dollar for trades. You could upgrade to a lower payment. Get started now at ClassicChevrolet.com.
Well, we enter second quarter action here from Mustang Panthers Stadium. After one quarter of play, the Seguin Cougars holding a 7-0 lead over Colleyville after a really solid first drive for the Cougars. And then their second drive, a turnover on downs, which allows Colleyville a chance to make some momentum, perhaps tie the game, but they got a long ways to go. 47-yard line, second and long for the Panthers. Bodie Weaver on a design quarterback keeper picks up about 5 yards after the holding penalty, and so it'll be roughly 3rd and 10 as we begin the second quarter.
Pretty interesting setup that they had on that formation. You had 4 different receivers on one side, and I would assume you would throw the ball. Pretty creative. It was a design run. Didn't get as much yardage as they wanted, but they picked up 5. Now they're facing about a 3rd and 10.
Bodie Weaver out of the shotgun on this 3rd and 10. With Gabe Best to his left. Looks Best's way. Has Best open. Doesn't see him. He's going to run with it, and he is wrapped up after a gain of 3. Gabe Best on a wheel route out of the backfield was open down the left sideline. Weaver didn't spot him, and he picks up a short gain. It'll be 4th and 7.
I know Bodie Weaver is going to be kicking himself when he watches the film after this one. He had Gabe Best wide open, and those two normally connect on that type of play. Gabe Best has scored twice on wheel routes this season. Could have been a 3rd one there if Bodie Weaver saw him.
Might be a pooch punt now for Bodie Weaver. Backs up to the 47. He does give a high kick. And it looks like this play was called dead before Weaver actually punted it, though. A flag comes out and a false start on Colleyville before the punt, which if it had been allowed to go on, it kind of died inside the 20-yard line. Not a bad punt for Bodie Weaver, and now they'll opt for the more conventional punt with Landon Dressel coming off the sideline, and they'll for sure kick it away from the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
So Colleyville's drive stalls at had a 60-yard punt already today. This one, another solid one towards the left sideline. It skips out of bounds after taking a left turn at the 12-yard line. Great punt for Landon Dressel. He's got quite the leg.
Oh, he does, definitely. Puts the defense in a pretty good position now. They're the best field position that they've seen so far. The other drives, you had the Cougars starting at their own 34, and then they started at their own 20 on the last one. This time, they're going to be inside the 20.
Let's see what Jerry Edwards' defense has in store for Colleyville with the worst field position of the night for Seguin, just past the 10-yard line, at the 12, we'll call it, with Chevy Andrews out of shotgun. Hands off on the right side. Trotter has a lane, breaks it out to the corner, and he's pushed out of bounds at the 30-yard line. A big play on first down for Seguin after Colleyville did so well on the first couple drives on first down, but not this time.
No, not that time. They just didn't set the edge, and Trotter just turns that corner, and he picks up a nice gain on first down.
17 yards and a first down for Kadarius Trotter, already his 7th carry of the game. He has a couple carries that have gone for over 10 yards tonight, and this one brings him out to the 29-yard line. 10 minutes to go before halftime here from Mustang Panther Stadium. 7-0, Seguin leads it. 4 down linemen for Colleyville. Chevy Andrews hands off. Left side this time. A flag comes out. Trotter puts his foot in the ground and turns upfield at the hash mark. Gets past the 40-yard line. We'll see if this one comes back. As it stands, it was another gain of more than 10 yards for Trotter, but it looks like it will not count for the running back. It is holding on the center, Angel Tenna. A sophomore commits the infraction, and what was a really solid gain for Seguin turns them back to the 19-yard line. It'll be 1st and 20 for the Cougars.
And this is where the Panthers need to take advantage. They have 20 yards that they need to pick up. Let's take advantage of it, and let's force them to punt the ball or make a mistake.
Under center in an I formation, Chevy Andrews, play action, throws deep on the near sideline. Jamani Smith has the catch, down the sideline, evades the tackler. He's going to take it to the house. Jamani Smith, an 81-yard strike for Chevy Andrews. And the Seguin Cougars don't worry about the holding penalty. They run it all the way to the end zone. They lead it 13-0.
Yeah, Chevy Andrews with a nice play action fake. It was man coverage again on the left side, and he connects for another massive touchdown on that left side on a fly route. And he beats Eli Woolery in coverage again. Eli Woolery not having the best game, but he's known to be tough and to get back out there.
A trick play, and this might turn into points for Colleyville. A trick play for Seguin where they try to hike it to the holder, and now a tackle by Jonathan Polk saves points. It was Colleyville's Hayden West who picked that one up and brought it past midfield, trying to turn it into 2 points for the Panthers. Would have been their first score of the game, and West nearly broke it free. Would have been at least a little bit of a silver lining for Colleyville. It still is a silver lining. They stay within 13 points, but we expect a lot of trick plays for Seguin tonight, and there was the first that we've seen.
Yeah, that was the first there on that one. But good stop there by Hayden West for breaking up that field goal kick, or the extra point try, I should say. That saves them a point, and that might be a big factor moving down the line, depending on how well this Panthers offense can get once they get back on the field. We'll see.
It's officially an 88-yard drive, but they really traveled 98 yards on the drive, counting the holding penalty, including an 81-yard pass from Chevy Andrews to Jamani Smith. Second touchdown catch for Smith, and he's already got 4 catches for well over 100 yards in the evening.
Yeah, he's over about his 2 touchdown passes combined for 162 yards, so he's somewhere near 175 to 200.
Here's the kick. Down 13-0. We'll see if they can get a big return here from the near sideline all the way out to the opposite side. And it'll be decent field position. Chase Gibson, the one bringing it out for the Panthers. Just past the 25-yard line, they'll start at the 27. So third drive of the evening for Bodie Weaver and the Colleyville Panthers. They have punted on both of their first 2 drives this evening. And the way these offenses have been somewhat methodical in taking a fair amount of time off the clock, especially Seguin's drives, it's not out of the question that this could be their final drive of the first half. I mean, this is just their 3rd overall this game, and we're down to 9 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the second quarter.
Yeah, that plays a factor into the Panthers offense not being able to sustain drives, and Cougars are.
Bodie Weaver fakes the handoff, keeps it himself, and the quarterback plunges ahead to the 35-yard line, falls forward for an additional yard. After the tackles made by Keith Hoffman, the linebacker for Seguin, a design run for Bodie Weaver, and he gains 7, make it 8 yards on first down.
Yeah, even though they're down only 13 points, you are down by 2 scores. That doesn't mean to go into obvious passing situations. Continue to run that football, play your game. It's only 2 scores. There's plenty of time left in this ball game.
Jeremy Snyder, the offensive coordinator, hoping to see a long drive here for the Panthers. Here's a running play right up the middle, pretty good hole before the tackle made by Seguin's defensive backfield. A running play right up the middle for Colleyville, picks up the first down.
And I would continue to run the football until they prove that they can stop it. So far, Colleyville has had a lot of success running that ball. All it is about is just staying on schedule now. That's where we've gotten stopped, right here in this area on the last couple of drives.
Another handoff out of shotgun, and right near midfield, a decent gain for the Panthers. Second straight carry for Colin Bennett, the senior, getting a couple totes right up to the 50-yard line.
Yep, and he's a guy with a lot of experience. He's been on varsity since his sophomore year. He was actually the starting running back in his sophomore season. So he's got some experience in big games like this. The stage is not too big for him.
So Bennett with 2 carries, including the first down. They fake it his way. A throw to the outside. Weaver puts it right on the money, near the sticks. A gain of 9, maybe 10 yards to the outside. Good play for Colleyville. And the catch first with the night for Connor Supankasey.
This is the first time the Panthers offense has crossed midfield, I believe. So good sign there. They pick up 3 first downs so far on this drive. Need to keep it going. Let's put some points on the board.
4th completion of the night for Bodie Weaver. He's been held to just 17 yards passing so far. Just over 7 minutes to go in the first half. From the 45-yard line, Bodie Weaver has some time. Now under pressure. He steps up and loses the football. It's picked up by Hoffman. Seguin going the other way. Hoffman off to the races. Can Bennett track him down? Hoffman to the 5, and he's taken down from behind. A fumble from Bodie Weaver, and Landon Hoffman takes it, or Keith Hoffman, I should say, almost all the way to the end zone on a fumble recovery for Seguin, and they're knocking on the door again, already leading 13-0.
Wow, this play here, he's got Colin Bennett again on a wheel route, and Colin Bennett was actually jumping up and down because he was so wide open. Bodie Weaver doesn't see him. He runs, he fumbles the football. It's picked up by the Panthers, but look here on this one. Colin Bennett doesn't get the football thrown to him. He doesn't quit. He doesn't pout. He continues with the play, and he tracks down the defender and saves a touchdown. That is a huge play, a huge stop by Colin Bennett. Great hustle by him. He doesn't give up on the play at all, and that could be big on this drive.
If they can get a stop here near the goal line, it'll prove to be huge, or Seguin could just punch it in a play or two later. Under center on a little bit of trickeration, it does not turn into anything productive for Seguin. They fake the shotgun snap to Andrews and then end up handing it off under center. I believe that was Jonathan Polk who came under center for the rush and maybe got a half yard. They spot it right at the 1-yard line, so he did pick up about a yard on the play.
Yeah, a little trickery there, just trying to sneak their way into the end zone. Just pick up half a yard, like you said.
After the fumble by Bodie Weaver, first turnover of the game for either team. Seguin looking to punch it in and take a 3-score lead in the first half. Under center, pitch play to the outside. Trotter evades one tackler to the pylon, and he is in. Kadarius Trotter gets away from the defense and just inside the pylon for the 3rd touchdown of the night for this Seguin offense. They lead it 19-0. With 6 minutes to go in the half.
Man, and that one hurts. They had it sniffed out in the backfield. It looked like it was going to be about for a loss of 5. You see here, there's a missed tackle in the backfield, and he just turns the corner, and he takes it the rest of the way and puts the Panthers, or excuse me, he puts the Cougars up by 3 scores.
19-0, and again, Seguin looking for some trickery. A false start penalty is called. We'll see if they just go for the PAT now. They went for 2 on their 2nd touchdown, fumbled the ball, and Colleyville nearly returned it for a 2-point play of their own. And now a false start brings the ball back to the 8-yard line. And it looks like Oscar Lopez will kick for Seguin. Try to make it a 20-point game. 6 minutes and 13 seconds to go in the second quarter. Lopez with the kick. And it is good for one more for Seguin. 20-0. The Cougars on top of Colleyville. 3 touchdowns already for this Seguin team after a big fumble. And points off of turnovers for the Cougars. We'll take a quick break and come back for Colleyville's offensive drive. Can they come back and head into halftime with some momentum, get some points on the board? We'll see their drive right after this on Tradio. Well, tough sledding so far for the Colleyville Panthers, trailing 20-0 to Seguin. They've already given up 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. The second quarter has been the best part of each game for Colleyville. They're averaging nearly 20 points in second quarters this season. Through 6 games, averaging just under 20. By comparison, they're averaging only 6 points a quarter in the first quarter, and right about that in every other quarter. Here's the kickoff to the Panthers, and good coverage from Seguin. Colleyville a little out of sorts with which player would receive that, right in between the up back and the deep back. Ultimately, it's brought in by Connor Supin Casey, and he only gets out to the 15-yard line. So not great field position for the Panthers. Now in their 4th drive of the game, they've punted twice, and then most importantly, fumbled on their last drive, returned all the way to the 2-yard line. They are not in rhythm yet offensively.
No, they're not in rhythm at all. That last drive, that was the furthest that they've gotten down the field. They got past midfield. Looked like they were starting to pick up some momentum and get things going. Bodie Weaver just misses an open receiver there. He tucks it, he runs, and he ends up fumbling the ball.
6:09 to go in the second quarter as this drive starts. Short gain on first down and a plunge up the middle. Bennett on the carry for Colleyville, gains 2 yards on the play. His 3rd carry of the contest for 17 yards. 3 down linemen for the Cougars. They send 4. Bodie Weaver steps through the pressure, throws, has a man, broken tackle on the near sideline, a first down nearly to the 40-yard line. Good catch, and to keep his feet inside, Trevi Preicha makes the play and gets out to the 39, almost the 40.
Yep, again, Bodie Weaver, he snaps the football here. He's surveying, doesn't see anything he likes. He steps up in the pocket, he scrambles to the right, and he throws it on the run right there to Trevi Preicha. Trevi Preicha breaks a tackle, and he picks up a nice gain on first down.
23 yards for Preicha on his first catch of the night. Another handoff up the middle, and similar result to first down last drive until the push. Bennett was stopped short, and this is still going all the way to midfield. What a push by this Colleyville offensive line. They're down 20, and they don't like it. You can tell. And they shove Bennett out to a first down and a gain of 12.
Wow, what a great push by that Panthers offensive line. They did a very good job. It looked like it was about a gain of 2 or 3 on the play. The offensive line continues to push and push and push, and they end up picking up 11 on that play.
Pass midfield. This is right in the area where Weaver fumbled last drive. This time finds Supin Casey on the outside, dragging tacklers, pushes the ball ahead near the 40-yard line. And a good catcher, Lucas Sunwall was the one who pulled it in, and he drags a couple of Cougars out to the 40-yard line, a gain of about 9 yards, maybe 8, just shy of the sticks. I'll give him 9 yards. It'll be 2nd and 1 to Lucas Sunwall. 6th completion on the night for Bodie Weaver. Out of the shotgun again with Bennett to his left, sending pressure. The Cougars nearly get to him. He spins away from a tackler and falls ahead for a short gain. The Cougars sending a man untouched on the left side, and Weaver was able to get ahead for a couple.
Yep, that time that run pass option, Bodie Weaver decides to keep it. He sees the blitzer, he makes a spin move, and he picks up a good gain on 2nd down to pick up the first.
Just needed a yard to get the first down. He got about 3 on the play. Weaver again takes the shotgun snap, looks left, turns right, now rolls out to his left, has a man towards the sideline and misses him. Throws outside and incomplete. Looking for Connor Supin Casey, and it'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, he had Supin Casey open a little bit on that one. Just throwing on the run to your left. Difficult throw to make. He wasn't able to make it. They get to live to see another down.
Weaver trying to find his men in the second level. You mentioned last time on the fumble play, or you mentioned he had missed a man deep. There was the wheel route to Bennett earlier. Can he find guys deep in the secondary? This time a quick throw to the outside. Supin Casey makes the catch and is wrapped up by a couple of Cougar defenders.
So now the Panthers are in pretty much no man's land. So that means they're going to be in 4-man 4-down territory. They're going to go for it here on 3rd down. They're going to set up for something short on 4th if they don't end up picking up much here on 3rd.
First catch of the night for Connor Supin-Casey, 5-yard gain. Sets up 3rd and 5 from the 33-yard line. Left hash mark in an empty backfield. 3 down linemen, 4 rushers for the Cougars. Weaver runs the other way, gets tripped up right at the sticks. Did he get enough for the first down on a design run to the left side? Yes, he did. First down for Colleyville, down inside the 30-yard line.
Yep, and the Panthers are starting to get something going on this drive. There's the design run to Bodie Weaver. Here he is. He tries to follow his blocks. He ships out to the outside, and he does just enough to pick up that first down.
4 wide receivers on the near side in a diamond formation. Weaver looks left to the only man that direction. A little back shoulder play, and it's broken up, incomplete. Supin-Casey, the intended target, and good coverage on the outside by Michael Jackson, the defensive back for Seguin. Incomplete on first down.
Yep, Bodie Weaver saw that it was man coverage. He threw it to his guy, Connor Supin-Casey. Throws it right there, that back shoulder fade. But really good coverage there by Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson gets his hand in there. He makes a big play.
Late first half action, 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Colleyville just trying to get on the board. They trail 20-0 in this game. But Bodie Weaver, the D1 commit, trying to lead this offense. In the shotgun, has pressure behind him, throws, and it is caught by Sunwall at the goal line, and he's in. Colleyville is on the board. What a throw by Bodie Weaver. 27-yard touchdown pass. Lucas Sunwall brings it in. It's now 20-6. Colleyville on the comeback trail.
Bodie Weaver sees it's cover 2. When you want to attack cover 2, you want to get it somewhere in that middle. He splits those 2 safeties. He throws a dime to Lucas Sunwall, and those 2 connect another week in a row. Those guys have really great chemistry. What a play by both. Great throw, great catch.
Sunwall's 4th catch of the night, none bigger than that. First touchdown of the game for Colleyville, the PAT, which is big because they'll only be down by 13 if it goes through, and it does. Landon Dressel tacks on the point with 2:34 to go in the second quarter. Colleyville making a game out of it. The 20-0 deficit trimmed down a bit. 20-7 now the score, with Seguin taking the field back with 2:34. After a really solid drive by Colleyville. We'll take a brief break and come back for Seguin action. You're watching high school football on Tradio.
Maintenance. J. Caldwell Custom Pools is your custom pool builder and outdoor living design expert, serving you with 2 locations, Hudson Oaks and Fort Worth, because life is too short for ordinary backyards. Dive in and find out more at jcaldwellcustompools.com.
Well, an 85-yard drive for Colleyville turns into their first points of the evening. Capped off by a 17-yard touchdown pass from Bodie Weaver to Lucas Sunwall after Weaver's first turnover, and he hopes only turnover of the night. A fumble on the previous drive, but this time he drives Colleyville down 85 yards, gets the touchdown. They draw within 2 scores. Can Seguin finish the first half with some momentum and get it back to a 3-score game? A strong kick return for Seguin, and it looks like Jonathan Polk busts through the middle out past the 35-yard line. And Seguin will have pretty decent field position on what may be their final drive of the first half, leading 20-7.
Jonathan Polk, he's a good receiver, but he's also a really good returner. He's got 2 big kick returns in this one so far.
Put him at the 38-yard line for Seguin's offense, but that was a healthy drive for Colleyville. They really needed some points, and they turned in a long drive, their worst field position of the night, but they get 7. 85-yard drive was really nice to see.
Yeah, really nice to see. They got a little run game going on the drive, and then they also hit you with a couple of play-action passes as well, which really got them those big plays and got them 7 on the board.
Only took 3.5 minutes off the clock. Now Seguin with 2.5 to go in the first half. They run it on first down. Kadarius Trotter spins around but doesn't have much room to go. Maybe got a yard on the play. He gets up to the 40-yard line, they'll spot him a gain of 2, in fact, for Kadarius Trotter on first down.
Both teams are in an interesting situation here as the 2-minute timeout is about to approach. I don't think we're going to get another playoff here. But both teams are in a really interesting spot. The Cougars, they want to go up 3 scores before they go into halftime. And then for the Panthers, you get a stop here, and you're able to get your offense the ball back. Let's say they score some points. You get the ball back coming out of halftime. So they have a chance to double dip if they can get a stop here. So we'll see what happens.
Lucas Sunwall recorded his 7th touchdown reception of the night. He came in with 342 yards on the evening, and he's been the leading receiver for Colleyville tonight. He has 40 receiving yards in the evening on 4 catches, including that touchdown. But now the defense needs to step up. 2 minutes to go at the 40-yard line. Best case scenario, they get the ball back with some time in the clock. Worst thing in the world wouldn't be to go into the locker room down 2 scores, since they were just down 20 moments ago. Now 20-7. 2 minutes on the clock. Chevy Andrews is under center for Seguin at the 40-yard line. I formation on second down. What a hit. Kadarius Trotter gets blasted by Colleyville in the backfield. Joe Nisbet, the senior team captain, makes the biggest tackle of the night for Colleyville.
Joey Nisbet, he just flashes through that hole, and he does not allow the running back to go anywhere. We're starting to see that on film pretty consistently every single week. Look at him right there. Shoot that A-gap right up the middle. Boom. Hits the running back. Doesn't allow him to go anywhere. A big stop on second down. And now the Cougars are facing a 3rd and long situation.
Timeout called to stop the clock. Joey Nisbet right in the gut. I mean, a great tackle, just verticality too. I mean, to know where to hit him right near the ball, which, you know, give him a chance if your helmet maybe dislodges it, which didn't happen there. But either way, right in the middle is a great form tackle for Joey Nisbet.
He definitely shows great form on that tackle there. And then most importantly, he makes sure he gets to the ground, finishes the tackle. It's a very good display there by Joey Nisbet.
And Trotter's not the easiest guy to bring down.
Oh, no.
Sets up a 3rd and about 10 yards for the Seguin offense. Chevy Andrews fakes the snap one way, hands it off to Polk the other way on a reverse. Has the outside if he can get past one man. He cannot. The tackle made right near the line of scrimmage. Isaiah Haynes, the junior defensive back, had just enough leverage to make the play. Timeout is called by Colleyville to stop the clock at 1 minute and 40 seconds. And they have a chance to score twice towards the end of the half. They trail by 13. Great stop by Haynes in this Colleyville defense.
Yeah, that's another back-to-back drive where Isaiah Haynes has made a big play. You see here a little trickery on the reverse. Isaiah Haynes does a great job of going low and tackling him on the ankles. Doesn't even allow him to pick up any yardage on the play. So now the Cougars are going to punt. They're facing 4th and 9. And Colleyville has a chance to put up some points on the board before they go into halftime. And they didn't take off much time off the clock. They have 1 minute and 40 left to work with. So they're going to have plenty of time to at least get a field goal try.
Yeah, just 57 seconds came off the clock on that drive. Colleyville scored with 2:34 to go in the half, and they'll get the ball back right about a minute after that. And a chance to make this game closer. They were down 20-0, and nothing was going right for Colleyville. But now we'll see if they can turn this into points. They have nobody back to receive this punt. So whatever happens here, the ball will just bounce around. They may try to block it here. And a fumbled snap. Lopez couldn't handle it. Now he's trying to run with it at the 30-yard line. He's pushed out of bounds. Colleyville takes over with tremendous field position on a botched punt play. Lopez couldn't handle the snap, and now Colleyville takes over at the 30.
Oh, man, it just gets better and better for Colleyville. Look at this here. The snap is botched. The punter picks it up. He's just trying to run with it. He's trying to get some space to try and punt it, but there's nowhere to go with the football, and he just has to take the beating on the end. And now Colleyville is in very good field position as they get the ball in Arlington Seguin's own 31-yard line with 1 minute and 33 seconds left. Plenty of time for this Panthers offense to work with.
So counting the botched fourth down play, Seguin goes -8 yards on that drive. They give the ball back to Colleyville at the 30. Weaver rolling out. A holding penalty will be called, so this one's coming back. Weaver throws. This play will not count. It's a good throw from Weaver. And the catch made just inside the sideline by Best. Gabe Best pulls it in, but a holding penalty will be called on the right side, which will push Colleyville back near the 40-yard line.
Yeah, it might be a blessing in disguise. I honestly think that they have too short of a field where they'll score a little bit too early and might give the Cougars another opportunity to try to score before the half. So I think that might work in the Panthers' favor. They have the momentum going. They've been able to get in a rhythm now. I think they'll be okay with this penalty.
Moves the ball back 11 yards, spot of the foul, and it occurred behind the line of scrimmage. So back to the 41-yard line. First down and 20. Really, the ball was at the 31 where the drive started. So Bodie Weaver on 1st and 20 takes the shotgun snap. They handle the pressure well for a moment, gets rid of it as he's being taken down. Great catch and a move by Best to evade the tackler and pick up about 14 yards on the play.
Wow, and again, Best is wide open. The Cougars are not accounting for him out of that backfield in the receiving game, and that time Bodie Weaver sees him. He sees him late, but he still got the pass off.
Weaver steps up on 2nd down and will take it himself. Burrows inside the 25-yard line and gains another maybe 4 or 5 yards on the quarterback keeper. So it'll be 3rd down. Timeout is called as Weaver is spotted just inside the 25-yard line. It'll be 3rd and a long 3 for Colleyville. The clock stops at 24 seconds. And so Colleyville is running out of time here. They may be happy with a field goal if they can make it work. The longest on the season for Landon Dressel is 38 yards, which would be right around this part of the field. I mean, 24-yard line at about 16, 17 yards. We're talking just a little bit longer than is long on the season. They'll add some time in the clock. It looks like 34 seconds is going to be put on with the timeout called for Colleyville.
And they also have a couple of timeouts to work with as well. So they can get a couple of plays off. They are in short field, but you do want to put up some points on the board. So if you do have to settle for 3, you would like to pick up a couple of more yards just to make it a comfortable attempt.
Bodie Weaver is now 8 for 12 on the evening. He does have a touchdown, no interceptions, but he does have a costly fumble that turned into 7 points for Seguin. They trail 20-7. Again, 34 seconds on the clock for Colleyville. Can they get some points here at the end of the half? They will get the ball first in the second half. Out of shotgun, Weaver takes the snap, and in fact, it's a decent gain over the left side. They'll hustle after he's tackled in play. It is a first down. The clock running down to 30 seconds, and he spikes it. And so with the clock stopping after the first down, it goes down to 27. It's still running. They'll have to put some time back in the clock. It went down to 23.
That's my mistake. I thought they had another timeout, but obviously they don't. So now they're going to have to go with the spike game. They're going to have to go with that no-hurry offense if they complete something inbounds.
They put 28 seconds back on the clock after Weaver picked up 5 to get the first down, immediately spiked it, so it's 2nd down and 10 from the 19-yard line, left hash mark. Seguin with one safety over the top. And looks like single coverage on the outsides. Weaver from the shotgun, pushing to his left. Now he's going to run with it, trying to get out of bounds to stop the clock, and he does. Inside the 15-yard line, gain of 5. The clock stops at 22 seconds.
That time I thought Bodie Weaver could have took another shot there to Gabe Best. Gabe Best does another wheel route. He's right there in the end zone. The defensive back had his back turned to him. I thought Bodie Weaver could have let that one go and gave it a shot in the end zone, but he wasn't really comfortable with it, and he just scrambles for a couple of yards and gets out of bounds.
So it'll be 3rd down and 5 with 22 seconds to go. Lucas Sunwall, the wide receiver on the near side. Trevi Preicha in the slot. Connor Supin-Casey, the wide receiver on the far sideline. Weaver takes the snap, rolls out to his right, throws towards the end zone, and is caught by Preicha inside the pylon. Touchdown, Colleyville. It's 20-13 now, and the Panthers are on a roll.
It's only one deep safety, so that means you're going to have man coverage on the outsides. And that time, Trevi Preicha, he comes on a crossing route. He beats his man in single coverage, and he gives Colleyville another 6 points. And now they're only down by one score going into the half. Big touchdown there and great momentum for this offense.
PAT is good for Landon Dressel, and they're only down by 6, 20-14. 2 straight touchdowns for Colleyville towards the end of the first half when everything was going right for Seguin. It was 20-0 after the long fumble recovery, plunging it in for a touchdown. And Colleyville even had a bad kickoff return after that, but everything changed with their 85-yard drive and 2 touchdown passes towards the end of the first half for Bodie Weaver. This one to Trevi Preicha, reaching up over his helmet and bringing it in at the front of the end zone with 16 seconds to go.
Yep, 16 seconds left. That's it. All you have to do is just make sure you don't give up a big return on the kickoff, and then don't give up much if the Cougars decide to do something on offense, if they decide to run an offensive play.
It's a 31-yard drive for Colleyville to bring them back within 1 score, finishing off with a 14-yard touchdown pass from Bodie Weaver to Trevi Preicha, just inside the buzzer of the first half. 16 seconds to go, and it looks like they'll go into the break within 1 score, and they get the ball back at the beginning of the second half, so who knows, they could tie or take a lead, 3 or 4 minutes of game time from now. Of course, we got the halftime intermission in between. They just got to make sure they don't let anything crazy happen at the end of the first half. Dressel boots it away, bobbled, and then caught by Polk. He's got a lane up the middle, and then he's tripped up near the 20-yard line.
You always hold your breath when Polk gets that football. He coughed it up there. It looked like it was going to be disaster for the Cougars, and then he gets it on the return, and you see a little opening. You see he coughs it up there, but he recovers it. Then he has a lane right there if he can get by right here. If that blocker picks up that block, he's got a lot of room to run. And he's really electric in the kick return game. So I was getting a little scared there once he got into the open.
How many times do you see a returner fumble or bobble a kick, and then the kick coverage team loses their lanes, and then all of a sudden all heck breaks loose? And that would have been the worst time for that to happen, with really no chance for them to score offensively. They're just going to take a knee and run out the clock and go into the halftime break. Seguin still has to be somewhat happy. They do have the lead, although they've given up 14 points. A fake play, it's a bit of a fumble-rooski type of situation. Doesn't go anywhere on a short rush to the left side. And a flag is thrown with 3 seconds to go. In fact, the clock runs to zeros. Seguin, of course, they love trick plays. Why not try something at the end of the half? And they gave the ball to Deshaun Ware, who ran around the left side for maybe 2 yards. And then a flag was thrown at the end. Camden Blackson is called for the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and so 2 seconds will be put back on the clock for Seguin. It brings the ball up to the 40-yard line. We'll see if they now actually take a knee to run it out with 2 seconds, or will they take a shot? And if they tried a trick play moments ago, I would not be surprised if they say, why not? Let's just try something and see if we can turn this into some points. They set up with the same formation. Chevy Andrews under center. That's the kneel down, and it looks like they will actually just take the knee and head into the halftime break. After 2 quarters of play here from Mustang Panther Stadium, it's the Colleyville Panthers 14 and the Seguin Cougars 20. And a very streaky game so far. 20 consecutive points to start the game for Seguin, and then 2 touchdowns for Colleyville to bring them back into it. They're down by 6, but they feel a lot better than a team normally would, down by a touchdown.
Oh, a lot better, because everything that went wrong for Colleyville went wrong at the wrong time. They were down by 20, and it was looking like the Cougars could probably run off with this game. But nope, Colleyville stayed strong. They continued to fight. They got some momentum going, and then everything started going in their direction. So now the momentum is with the Panthers. They're only down 6, and they get the ball back to start the second half.
So a 6-point lead for Seguin heading into the halftime break. We'll step aside during halftime. It should be a really fun game. Stay with us for second half action when we return. Should be a great game here and a critical game for district standings purposes. Seguin 1 game ahead, really half game ahead of Colleyville in the standings at 3-2 for Seguin and 2-2 for Colleyville. We'll step aside during halftime. 6-point lead for Seguin. You're watching high school football action on Tradio. Well, we welcome you back for second half action here on Tradio. It's been a great game here from Mustang Panthers Stadium, a one-score game heading into the third quarter with the Seguin Cougars leading over the Colleyville Panthers by a score of 20-14. But it seemed like everything was going in the other direction for most of the first half. Alongside Tramel Jeffers, I'm Josh Warden. Tramel 20-0, and then all of a sudden things turned around. I don't know exactly how to put my finger on what changed, but it certainly did change.
They just pretty much executed. They didn't panic at all. They weren't sustaining drives, but they were moving the ball down the field a little bit. They would just cough it up, or it'll be a penalty that took them off schedule and they have to punt. They just weren't executing really well, and once they went down 20-0, they got that drive going. They got some points on the board, and after that, they haven't looked back. They got the momentum going for the defense as well.
Seguin scored touchdowns on 3 of its first 4 drives, but then turned it over on downs twice, including a botched punt that gave Colleyville great field position, and they scored with 16 seconds to go in the second quarter. Now they get the ball to begin, and a poor decision. If that ball had just gone out of bounds, it would have been a penalty on Seguin. Instead, because it was touched at the 5-yard line, Colleyville will have bad field position to begin the third quarter. I think it was Gerard Wiley, the one who touched it at the 5, and so the Panthers will be backed up in their first drive of the second half.
Yeah, not a good decision there by Gerard Wiley. He just cost his team 35 yards on that one. I think if he lets that one go, it flies out of bounds. The refs are going to throw a flag, and you're going to be set up at the 40-yard line. But instead, he didn't really make a good decision, and he fumbles it out of bounds. Now we're at our own 5 to start this second half.
I think the Colleyville coaches are wondering, since he was out of bounds, should it still have been a penalty? Jerry Edwards making that claim. Here's a pass that clanks off the hands. I think it was in the lights and lost by Connor Supin-Casey. He's kind of pointing to his eyes like, yeah, the lights were right behind the ball and I couldn't see it, and it bounces off his hands. Incomplete, and an inauspicious start to this second half for Colleyville. Backed up at the 5-yard line, it'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, backed up at your own 5-yard line. Just don't turn the ball over. Let's try to pick up some yardage. You got the run game going in that first half. I would like to see a handoff here and try to keep it a balanced attack.
Bodie Weaver, who had 99 passing yards in the first half, has Bennett next to him. He fakes the handoff his way and runs it himself towards the right sideline, and he's undercut by Hoffman right as he reaches the stripe. Keith Hoffman, who had the long fumble return down to the 2-yard line on a Bodie Weaver fumble in the first half, is able to make this stop. It's a decent gain for Bodie Weaver of about 5 yards.
Yep, here he is here on the handoff. He turns to that outside on the right side, and actually good defense by the Cougars as well to set that edge. Modest game for Bodie Weaver and a modest stop for the Cougars. Win for both sides.
He's on pace for 100 rushing yards tonight. 56 now. Weaver on 3rd and 4. Throws out of the backfield. Bennett, can he break a tackle to get to the first down? Not quite. He is short of the 15-yard line where he needed to get to. A gain of about 3. And they'll probably punt at their own 14-yard line. Or will they go for it on 4th and 1? I think if they had that penalty and better field position, they would for sure go for it. Now it seems like they will because Landon Dressel is coming off the field. He's a wide receiver as well as their punter and kicker. And so they're going to go for it at their own 14-yard line.
I'm not mad at the decision, but here you got to be physical and you got to impose your will.
Weaver up the middle, and they do have enough for the first down. That would have been huge had Seguin been able to make the stop, but Colleyville moves the sticks, and they will not go 4 and out in their own red zone on their first drive of the second half. Weaver out to the 21-yard line.
Yep, Bodie Weaver, he goes on that left side. He gets a good block by number 12, Dax Hebeson, who's coming in on the offensive side of the ball. Key block there. And we pick up a crucial first down because that would have gotten ugly if we gave it back to the Cougars.
64 rushing yards for Weaver. Bennett following his blockers and doesn't really have a lane anywhere. And Bennett is wrapped up after a short gain. Quante Watts is the main one on the tackle for Seguin. It'll set up a 2nd and 9 for Colleyville. Left hash mark at their own 22. Bennett had 28 rushing yards. He came on strong at the end of the first half, had 4 carries for 28 yards for Colleyville. We've not seen Gerard Wiley get a carry. Gabe Best has been the other guy to take attempts. Weaver under pressure, lofts it towards the far sideline and a little bit underthrown, looking for his tight end, and he was unable to get it to Blake Wendler, and it's incomplete.
Good route by Blake Wendler. Had his man beat. Bodie Weaver just underthrows it. If he puts it right there on the money, that's a good chunk that we would pick up. You can check it out right here on this replay. He stands poised in the pocket. He delivers the pass. But you see there, Blake Wendler has him beat in coverage. Just a little bit behind him. He has to come back to the football, and the defensive back is able to get his hand in there to stop it.
3rd down and 9 for Colleyville with a clean pocket and a great play up the middle. Found the guy he was just trying to throw to. Blake Wendler makes his first catch of the night, and Colleyville converts on 3rd and long.
That time those two connect. And you see on this one, this time Bodie Weaver delivers a strike, a perfect pass, leads him right there in the middle and gives him an opportunity to get some yards after the catch.
21-yard gain. Weaver to Wendler out to the 43-yard line. Go back to Bennett, and he is hurled down for a loss. Great stop for a TFL. And Seguin comes up big on 1st down. It's a stop for Markel Carter, the sophomore, makes a tackle in the backfield.
Yeah, great stop by Markel Carter. He just sheds off his block. He gets into the backfield, and he's very disruptive.
So back to the 41-yard line. Colleyville moving here in the 3rd quarter. Down to 8 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this 3rd period. Colleyville down by 6, but they've scored the last 2 touchdowns in this game. Bodie Weaver steps through the traffic, still has it. Now he's going to run it himself, and he's taken down up near his head. He wants a flag on Deshaun Marable, who went up near his face mask, and Marable was able to bring him down, and no flag on the play. It was really no gain back to the 42-yard line, and now a flag is thrown well after the play ended.
Not sure why it took so long.
If it's on the tackle, then that's surprisingly late. If it's some sort of unsportsmanlike penalty. It was on the tackle. They must have talked about it and decided that it was enough contact to the face mask, but you don't normally see a flag unless it's actually after the play thrown that late.
No, you don't. And you see here, maybe he didn't get the face mask. If anything, it was a horse collar. If that, I don't even think it was that. When you look at it in slow motion on the replay, didn't look like he got the face mask. But in real time, it definitely looked like he got it. But I don't think he did. So looks like the Panthers probably got themselves a break.
Colleyville up over 200 yards of offense now in the evening. They're in plus territory. 1st and 10 from the 43. Weaver with a clean pocket. Only a 3-man rush. Goes deep to the 5-yard line. It is caught. Touchdown. Tie ball game. He finds his man. It's Connor Supankase. The senior runs it to the house. A 43-yard strike from Bodie Weaver. And we've got ourselves a 20-20 ball game here in Grapevine.
Just like they do all year long. Connor Supankase out of the slot, runs right down the middle, right down the seam. He's wide open, beats man coverage. When you play Connor Supankase in man coverage, he is going to make you pay right down the seam every time, just like he's done all season. Those two connect again, and they have a tie ball game here in this one, pending the PAT where they can take the lead.
Can Landon Dressel give Colleyville its first lead of the game? Will Hummert, the holder. The snap looks good. The kick is good. And because of a botched 2-point conversion that Seguin tried in the first half, it's now 21-20. Colleyville leads it with a long touchdown drive, a 95-yard drive to begin the second half, and a strike from Weaver to put him ahead. We'll take a break as Seguin takes his first drive of the second half. When we return, this is high school football action on Tradio.
Do you know what makes a biscuit a Bo biscuit? There it is. Small batch biscuits, just minutes from the oven. with crunchy hand-breaded chicken. Now you know the Carolina legend is here. If you know, you bow.
Well, here's the kick from Colleyville with their first lead of the game. Landon Dressel boots it to the goal line and is taken for a touchback by Seguin. For the first time tonight, they'll have the ball trailing to Colleyville, which has scored 3 touchdowns in a row. And Seguin has only had one drive, essentially, if you don't count the couple of plays to kneel out the clock at the end of the first half. They turned the ball over on downs in a botched punt attempt near the end of the first half. And since there was a touchdown before that drive, a touchdown after that drive, and then Colleyville got the ball at the end of the third quarter, they've barely had the ball, and they've seen a 20-point lead evaporate.
Yeah, I mean, the complete opposite of what was going on before. The Argyle was Seguin was dominating time of possession, and they were sustaining drives. And then all of a sudden, when the Panthers get momentum going, Seguin hasn't been able to put together drives. Like you mentioned, they had that turnover on downs, and then the punt. Yeah, it's completely turned over the complete opposite way in this one.
Looks like there was a 5-yard penalty on Colleyville, so they will re-kick from their own 35-yard line after Landon Dressel was able to get it all the way to the end zone on his kick just a moment ago. We'll see what happens here. Seguin has had a couple of good returns. They haven't broke anything loose. But Jonathan Polk, the deep back, now they do a little short squib kick sort of thing. Caught by the up back of the 30-yard line. He's wrapped up, but he gets free. Out to the 40 and past the 45-yard line on a short kick. And that 5-yard penalty ends up being huge because instead of Seguin starting at the 25, they start past the 45-yard line on a nice return.
Yeah, they pretty much pick up another extra 25 yards on that one. So, yeah, that penalty definitely put them in good field position to start. They're almost at their own 50, or at midfield, I should say.
It was Cariel Brown who had the return, so Seguin begins just shy of midfield. It's not their best field position of the day. They had a drive starting 2 yards away from the end zone, and they had a 2-yard touchdown drive, so that was their best. But this is pretty good for Seguin. Just shy of midfield. Chevy Andrews, first time here in the third quarter with the ball under center, goes deep, one-on-one coverage, and it is dropped, but a pass interference call right on the sideline, and Gibson never turned around. Chase Gibson will be called for the PI.
And that time they hit him with the play action. It's man-to-man coverage. Chase Gibson is in man-to-man coverage. He's actually in good position. He just has to keep his hands down, keep his hands to himself. There was a little bit of grabbing and pushing there, and they're going to call it every single time. Luckily, it's not the NFL, so it's only 15 yards instead of a spot foul.
Does bring it inside the 40-yard line, all the way to the 37 for Seguin without any actual positive yardage other than the penalty, and they're already inside the 40. Chevy Andrews out of shotgun. He had 164 passing yards in the first half. His first completion here in the second half. It goes to Jamani Smith, who had 2 touchdown catches before halftime. And he's able to skirt ahead to the 30-yard line.
That time they just want to get him something short and get him going. He really hasn't done much since those 2 touchdowns earlier in the game, and they're trying to get him warmed up again and get his confidence going.
That's the first completion by Chevy Andrews in about 14 minutes of game time. His last completion was to Jamani Smith, that 81-yard touchdown catch, and he had not completed a pass since then. He had not attempted a pass since then, and now he finally gets one with under 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. They just had a short drive and ran it a few times and didn't really get the offense going. Now he hands it off. A good run to the outside, broken tackle, and then finally brought down. A good rush by Isaac Bly on his first carry of the game, and he moves the sticks.
Wow, and on that one, Isaac Bly, he just showed you his great vision. tries to get it right there in that B gap. It's nothing there, so he bounces to the outside. He goes untouched for a good chunk of his gain, and he's finally taken down after picking up the first down.
17-yard line. Seguin trying to take the lead right back that they just gave up a couple of minutes ago. Bly is once again the halfback next to Chevy Andrews in the shotgun. He's got Jonathan Polk, the wide receiver, to the far side with 3 wide here in this first down. He throws to the slot on the near side. Jamani Smith turns away from a tackle, and he'll jog to the end zone. 3rd touchdown catch of the night for Jamani Smith. And this one gives Seguin the lead right back. A touchdown again from Chevy Andrews, a 17-yard scamper for Jamani Smith.
This time he just motions out of the backfield, or out of the slot, I should say. They throw it to him quick. He makes a man miss, and then he takes it the rest of the distance and puts up the Cougars by 6 points, pending the PAT. Well, 5 points, and then we'll see what the PAT.
They'll hike to Jonathan Polk. He'll try to push towards the end zone, and he gets in essentially untouched. And so they get back up by 7. It's 28-21. Seguin matching Colleyville's efficiency on offense. After everything was going right for Colleyville, they scored 21 unanswered. Well, until now, there's the answer. And it's 27-21, I should say. And Seguin back in front on a long drive, but not as long as it could have been because of the penalty on the kickoff and a good return. So it was a 52-yard drive, and Seguin back in front.
Yeah, and that time on that drive, they just got back to doing what they were doing in the first half. They were establishing the run. They were balanced. And then in the passing game, just short passes to their best player, and they let him go to work and pick up those yards after the catch. And that's exactly what he did on that touchdown. Jelani Smith with his 3rd touchdown on the evening. He's showing you why he's so talented and why he's got a couple of Division I offers.
The scoreboard shows 27-21. It should be 28-21. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, that was a 2-point conversion. They had 20 before that. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's 28-21. Got the math right the first time there. There they go. Now they fixed it up on the scoreboard. 5:54 to go in the 3rd quarter. That drive only took less than 2 minutes for Seguin, traveling 52 yards. And both teams score a touchdown on their first drive of the second half. Here's the kickoff to Colleyville. Gerard Wiley turns the corner around the left side to the 30, spins away from a tackle, and he's stacked up on the sideline of the 31. After the last time he tried to return a kick, he dropped it on the sideline, and Colleyville had to start from their own 5-yard line. Turned out to be not much of an issue. They marched 95 yards. Now they got a shorter field. We'll see if they can get their 4th consecutive touchdown drive.
Yeah, they got a lot of momentum going. They're pretty much getting whatever they want now. The play action is helping them open up the deep shots. So I think they can keep it going. I just take care of the football, and they'll be fine.
Bodie Weaver out to try to engineer another touchdown drive. He's got over 160 passing yards on the night, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He does have 1 fumble. The quarterback takes the snap, a flag right at the snap. He throws deep down the middle, and it is tipped and incomplete. Down at the opposite 35-yard line. Looking for Supin Casey.
Should be a free play. The defensive end for Seguin jumped off sides. Yep.
5-yard penalties. We'll do first down over again. It was good coverage by Cariel Brown in the defensive backfield, or else if that ball was caught by Supin Casey, or pardon me, by Lucas Sunwell.
There's number 98 there. He jumps off sides, and Bodie Weaver sees it, gets the free play.
Bodie Weaver on a design keeper. Another flag on the play. Spins a couple times out to the 40-yard line. We'll see if this one gives another 5 yards to Colleyville. This time, no, a holding penalty. And so Colleyville will march back on the other side of their original spot. It'll be about a 1st and 15. They could just pretend that there was a false start at the beginning and do it that way. They'll go back to the 26-yard line.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
Back to the 26. Lucas Sunwall, the wide receiver on the near sideline. Landon Dressel on the far sideline alongside Connor Supin-Casey. 4 wide for Colleyville in this first down. One running back, Best, motioning out of the backfield. A throw towards Supin-Casey. It goes through his arms, and he drops it, or Sunwall, excuse me. Landon Sunwall, or Lucas Sunwall, is unable to bring it in. The ball just a little behind him, but he probably should have caught it. Incomplete with 5:18 to go in the third quarter.
Yeah, he should have caught it. This would have put them back on schedule with a nice completion here. You see, yeah, it was just slightly behind him, but he got his hands on it. He should have snagged that one, and he knows it.
11 for 18, Bodie Weaver on the night. He gives it away this time, and nothing doing for Colleyville. A short gain towards the 30, but they're still going to have a third and very long. Gabe Best gets his first carry in a long time. That had been Bennett who had taken over for a lot of the carries for Colleyville, Colin Bennett. But now Best gets a tote, but he only gets a couple of yards on the play.
Yeah, I didn't really like that call on 2nd and long. It really doesn't set you up for much on 3rd down if you don't pick up much. That time, the Panthers only pick up 1 yard. So now you're faced with a 3rd and 14, and you really need to pick it up because now the momentum has shifted back to the Cougar side.
They need to get to the 41-yard line to convert on this 3rd and long. Weaver will take the pass out of shotgun. He motions Best out of the backfield, but then whistles. I don't see a flag, but it is a delay of game penalty on Colleyville, and so it'll be 3rd and even longer. Their offense had been in such good rhythm. 3 consecutive touchdown drives with a halftime break in between. That didn't seem to slow them down at all. They went on a 95-yard drive after the halftime break to make their 3rd consecutive touchdown drive. But now their offense is unable to move the ball unless they can make some magic on 3rd and long. Here's a screen play. They throw to the near side to Best. Gets away from one tackler, and he's hit hard at the 24-yard line. And that is a stop for Seguin. It'll be 4th and long for Colleyville after the tackles made by Cariel Brown.
Yeah, not many plays that you can run on 3rd and 19. That time, Colleyville just runs a quick screen there just to pick up some yards and get them a comfortable punt. But honestly, I would have liked to see them just take a shot. It's the same thing as a punt. If you get it intercepted, just give your offense a chance, give your receiver a chance, throw it up in the air on a deep shot, and see what happens.
Trailing 28-21, 3.5 to go in the 3rd quarter. Colleyville will punt it away. A bit of a high snap, but Landon Dressel brings it down. How much of a bounce can he get? A decently good Colleyville bounce. Rolls to the 35, and so Seguin's offense will come back out, leading by a touchdown, and they've got the ball right back.
Yeah, this is an important series here for the Panthers defense. They did a really good job to close out that first half, but they give up a big touchdown drive coming into this second half. So really need to make a play. It's time for somebody on this defensive line to make a play. Isaiah Omar, somebody. It's time for somebody to make a play. They got some big players on this defensive line. I really want to see who's going to step up and who's going to make that play. One of the Logan brothers. Let's see.
A handoff, and there is a great play right on the defensive line. And right when you say they need some strong play, it is Isaiah Omar, the sophomore who you brought up, just coming off of injury, makes a tackle right at the line of scrimmage.
It's a good win on 1st down. There you see here, number 57, Isaiah Omar, coming back from injury. He sheds his block. He gets to the running back, and he does not allow any yards on that play. A good win on 1st down for Colleyville.
2nd and 10 for the Cougars. Fake the handoff. A throw to the outside. It is incomplete. He got Jamani Smith in a really bad position, and Colleyville right there with the coverage. Gibson wasn't really sure if he should make a tackle, go for the interception. It was over his head anyways. Now it's 3rd and 10.
Oh, my goodness, a really dangerous throw. Isaiah Gibson was all over it. It just was a little bit too high for him to pick it off. But if it was a little lower, he takes that to the house for 6.
From the left hash mark, Chevy Andrews, who had almost 250 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 70 rushing yards against Argyle, last week, trying to do some similar things against Colleyville today. Throws to the outside, past the 40-yard line, caught by Jonathan Polk. Just shy of the first down marker, however. It'll be 4th down. They'll likely go for it on 4th and about 3. 7-yard gain to Jonathan Polk, his 3rd catch of the night. And it makes this 4th down a little more manageable for Chevy Andrews, assuming they go for it. With 2.5 to go in the 3rd quarter. They need to get to the 44-yard line of their own territory. Or will they punt? It looks like they will.
Looks like they're going to try to pin them deep.
So Andrews takes it. No, he's going to run it. Has a head of steam up the middle, and he just does get enough for the first down. Past the 45-yard line on a quarterback keeper. Back from the punting position. And he runs ahead on the snap, takes it with his momentum going forward. Great play for Seguin to get the first down.
Wow, in a big game like this with playoff implications on the line, they're going to fake the punt here, and he's going to pick up just enough yards to keep this drive going. What a play call by the Cougars head coach.
That's Joe Gordon, who is happy with that result. We haven't seen Chevy Andrews run the ball a lot tonight. That's just his 2nd carry for the dual threat quarterback, 18 yards on those 2 attempts. He's back in shotgun. This time he hands it off to Trotter. Spins around. Isaiah Omar was the first to touch him. And then a gang of Panther tacklers bring him down right at the line of scrimmage, maybe gets him half a yard.
Isaiah Omar, again, he's starting to make some plays. He's getting off his blocks in the run. He was the first one to get there. And all the other Panthers rallied to the football and brought him down. Good stance by this Panthers defense on first down.
2nd down and 9 for the Seguin offense. 1:30 to go in the 3rd quarter, with the Cougars leading by a touchdown here on the road in a stadium they've already played in this season against Grapevine, winning in overtime. Can they make some more magic here today against Colleyville? 2 men in motion for Seguin. They come set. Andrews on a design run. Left side trying to get to the corner. Does not have the corner. A flag comes in late after Andrews was already to the sideline, and he continued to get shoved around by Camden Blackson, the linebacker. The flag came in from the white hat. Wasn't sure if there was going to be a late hit penalty, but the flag came in almost too early before Blackson was, it's a holding on the offense.
Okay. You see the replay here. Let's see who they called that holding on. You could see it right there on the guard, number 71. He's the one who gets called for the holding. I think it was a little ticky-tacky there. I didn't really see too much of a hold. He does grab him a little bit, but the refs thought it was enough to call for a holding. And, hey, Colleyville will take it.
It looks like they actually declined the penalties to put it back at the 45-yard line and make it 3rd down. 45 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Under center now with 2 wide receivers. Andrews will roll that way. Has a man, Jonathan Polk. It's over his head, incomplete. Would have had the first down inside the 45-yard line. And Chevy Andrews misfires on 3rd and 10. Had the surefire conversion, and he lets it go too high.
Yeah, that was a missed opportunity there on 3rd down to keep this drive going and really punish the Panthers. It was just man coverage, a simple out route for number 9, Jonathan Polk. He just doesn't get his hands on it, and it might have been a little bit overthrown on that one too. We talked about how Andrews hadn't completed a pass until since early in that 2nd quarter. He's still a little rusty, and we saw it on this drive.
Wouldn't be surprised if this is a trick play. It is Jonathan Polk, the dangerous returner, who has it. He tries to punt, it's blocked, but there is a flag before the play. It was a false start in the offense. Colleyville wish they could have had the block punt instead, but they're unable to make that decision.
Oh, man, and I know the Cougars are happy that that false start happened because, man, that would have been a disaster, as you see here.
Demarius Logan, the one who blocked it.
Oh, Demarius Logan, he comes up big with the punt block. But,
and they get another block. Logan again. This one is picked up at the 20-yard line, or is it? It is kicked out of bounds, and so Colleyville will take the ball over. Back-to-back punt blocks by Demarius Logan.
Back-to-back by Demarius Logan. We said it on the start of that drive. Somebody needs to make a play on defense. Isaiah Omar, Demarius Logan, who's going to make that play? Wasn't necessarily on defense. It was in special teams, but, hey, it counts. Demarius Logan makes back-to-back plays. The first one didn't count, but he does it again, and he puts this Panthers offense in great field position as they have the ball inside the Cougars' own 15-yard line.
They'll start at the 12. Seguin has tried to punt twice tonight. One time the punter bobbled it and was tackled. The other time it was blocked. So they haven't actually really gotten a punt away today. And we've got 20 seconds left in the third quarter. Colleyville, a chance to tie this game back up. Bodie Weaver in an empty backfield. Looks left, throws in the flat, caught by Wendler. He's immediately brought down on a solid tackle. A short gain. And the Seguin stop made by Michael Jackson. That will run down the clock here in the third quarter. And so we head to the final period. Seguin leads it 28-21, but their lead is being threatened right now. Colleyville down to the 6-yard line, looking to tie this game back up early in the fourth quarter and defend their home turf. Should be a fun ball game down the home stretch. Stay with us for the fourth quarter when we return. This is high school football action on Tradio.
Compass Church is for you. Join us each week to experience great music, a message that applies to your everyday life, as well as programming for your kids and students to engage on their level. Learn more at compass.church.
From your first paycheck to your first home, starting your own business or celebrating your retirement, we're here for all of life's important moments. At Simmons Bank, our modern banking solutions make managing your finances effortless and efficient, so you can focus on what matters most. Simmons Bank, proud supporter of the moments that matter. SimmonsBank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender, all accounts subject to approval.
We enter the fourth quarter here at Mustang Panthers Stadium with the Colleyville Panthers trailing by 7 on their home turf against the Seguin Cougars, but they're at the 6-yard line. First play of the fourth quarter, Bodie Weaver takes the snap, design quarterback run, weaves his way through the tacklers, and he's in. A quarterback scramble for the touchdown for Bodie Weaver, and the Colleyville Panthers are within 1.
Coach Jerry Edwards described Bodie Weaver in one word, and that word was elite. You see it here on this play. Look at the design run. He's moving out here to the left. He shakes back inside. He shakes another tackler inside. He goes untouched in the end zone. And we see this from Bodie Weaver every single week, and he shows you why he is the best quarterback in the district and one of the best quarterbacks in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
The important PAT is good to tie this game at 28 points apiece. The drive took just 24 seconds off the clock after the blocked punt gave Colleyville the ball at the 12-yard line. 2 plays later, they're into the end zone, and Bodie Weaver has his first rushing touchdown of the night to go along with his 2 passing touchdowns. Second straight week that he's had 2 throwing scores, or at least multiple throwing scores and a rushing score. He had 4 TDs through the air last week against Everman on the road. This time he scores with his feet, and he's approaching 100 rushing yards on the night as well. He's up near 75 currently, entering now in the fourth quarter, and it's 28 all.
Wow, what a ball game we have. And that's not the only type ball game with playoff implications on the line. We have a score update with Argyle and Mansfield Summit. Both teams are undefeated in the district. They are battling it out. Argyle is up 19-14 late in the third quarter. Those guys are going back and forth on the scoreboard. So we'll see and keep an eye on that one as they enter the fourth quarter in a second.
These 2 teams you see here tonight chasing those 2 in the standings. The top 4 in the district get in as it stands currently. Seguin is in. Colleyville is not. Colleyville at 2-2. Seguin at 3-2. Here's the kick from Landon Dressel into the end zone. Jonathan Polk fakes like he's going to bring it out and doesn't. So a touchback for Seguin. They'll bring it out to the 25-yard line and try to break the tie as we really get into the fourth quarter in earnest. One play so far in the quarter, and we've seen a touchdown already. Bodie Weaver bringing it in. What will Seguin have on tap on their first drive of the fourth quarter?
Let's see on this drive if Anderson can get something going, if he can start with getting into a rhythm. He's been a little rusty on the last couple of drives. He did throw a touchdown, but he's not all the way in a rhythm. So let's see if he can get back into a rhythm. Let's see if they can establish the run on this one and get back to doing what they were doing early in that first half.
Chevy Andrews 10 for 14 on the night, but 3 of his 4 incompletions have been on 3rd and 4th downs, including last drive. Pump and go, goes to the outside, has a man again, caught down at the 40-yard line and wrapped up. Another huge play, Jamani Smith on the same design as the first play of the game when he nearly took it to the house. Same result here on a double move.
The same design, the same play, the same route, the same exact side. Jalen Polk. Here's Andrews here. He gets the snap. Polk just makes a fake, and then he turns the corner on the outside. He beats his man in coverage, and then he gets past the safety. The safety's not able to get there in time. He makes another big play.
Jamani Smith had a 40-yard reception on the same play to open the game. This one goes for 39 yards. It's identical, almost down to the yardage, 1 yard less, because there was an extra defender that side this time. Now Chevy Andrews hands off, and Kadarius Trotter stumbles towards the line of scrimmage, maybe didn't even get back to the original line. A loss of a half yard or maybe no gain on the play for Trotter. It'll be second down from just outside the 35. 11th carry on the night for Kadarius Trotter. Under 11 minutes to go in regulation here in a tie ball game between Colleyville and Seguin.
Yeah, that time he lost his footing, and then the Panthers defensive line just cleans it up and finishes the rest.
Andrews, a quick throw to the outside, has a man, soft coverage from Gerard Wiley, allows the out route from Jonathan Polk. Gets to the 30-yard line, a gain of 6. It'll make it a 3rd and 4.
Yeah, you see the Panthers are really respecting Jelani Polk as they play off coverage on him. They do not want him to beat them deep, so they're going to play off, and then that opens up the opportunity for him to just run those out routes and pick up those short yardage.
They need to get to the 26-yard line to convert on this 3rd down for Seguin. Andrews with just one wide receiver on each side of the formation. Hands off to Trotter. Stacked up initially. He breaks it out to the left side in between the hashes, and he gets one of his best runs of the night down to the 30-yard line, and a gain of 10 for Kadarius Trotter.
A really big run for Trotter there. It's 2nd and 10. It looks like he's going to get stuffed in the backfield. Somehow he escapes, and then he picks up a huge chunk and picks up that first down for the Cougars, and they keep this drive going. Now they're in the red zone.
He's been stacked up for no gain or 1 yard or less on 5 of his carries tonight, of his 12. So it's been some tough sledding. 12 carries, 48 yards for Kadarius Trotter. But that one for a first down. And a timeout is called by Seguin, their first of the half, with 10:07 left in the fourth quarter. We'll take a quick break and come back with a tie score here in the fourth. We've got ourselves a heck of a ball game here at Mustang Panther Stadium. You're watching Tradio.
Every game is filled with moments that matter, ones you will never forget. At ClipRip.com, we make it easy to relive those moments again and again. Browse and download your favorite plays from Game Broadcast by Tradio instantly. Whether you are a player building a reel, a parent capturing memories, or a fan playing that perfect drive, your moment is ready to clip and rip. Clip the moment, rip the highlight. Visit ClipRip.com today.
Out of the timeout with 10:07 to go in the fourth quarter here from Mustang Panther Stadium. Seguin on the move with a tie score. Chevy Andrews on a play-action fake on first down. Throws towards the end zone. Jamani Smith, does he have another touchdown catch? Yes, he does. His 4th of the night. A 20-yard fade to the end zone, and Jamani Smith has a 4-touchdown evening here at Mustang Panther Stadium.
What a play design here on this one. The play action rollout, the bootleg to the right. He's just waiting on that crossing route to come to the left side, and he finds Polk for another touchdown. Polk has really had a massive day in the receiving game for this Cougars offense.
With exactly 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, Jamani Smith has multiple touchdown receptions in each end zone tonight. Here's the PAT, and it is just over the crossbar, and good. It's now 35-28. Seguin leads it over Colleyville. 10 minutes on the clock in the fourth quarter. Jamani Smith has touchdown catches of 5 yards, 81 yards, 17 yards, and 20 yards. Not to mention 5 other catches that have not gone for touchdowns. So 9 receptions, 4 of them for TDs. For Jamani Smith, he has been electric tonight.
And guess how many receiving yards he has on the night?
How many?
226.
Oof, 226. Unreal for Jamani Smith on 9 receptions this evening. And he's been the favorite target for sure of Chevy Andrews. 254 through the air overall for Chevy Andrews, so almost all of them have gone to Jamani Smith, and all 4 of his touchdown passes have been caught by Smith. 35-28. The good thing for Colleyville is their offense has picked up steam ever since about halfway through the second quarter, and so they've been able to score almost at will. Can they do it again and tie this ball game back up? They should have 1, if not 2 more drives down the stretch. But a huge drive upcoming for Colleyville. This one for Oscar Lopez to kick it away. Fairly short kick. Gerard Wiley at the 8-yard line. Runs back towards the middle. He turns away from a tackle out to the 15. Caught from behind to the 20. Long run to get back to the 20-yard line, crossing from one sideline to the other.
Yeah, it didn't look good on that one, but fortunately he was able to get it back to the 20. So, an okay spot for the Panthers offense.
Cariel Brown makes the play, the tackle for Seguin. Colleyville takes over. And Seguin and Colleyville have traded scores, 35-28. Here's Bodie Weaver. First play of this drive, he goes over the defensive back, layers it in inside the 30-yard line, and it's caught by Connor Supin-Casey just over the hands of the zone defense.
Yep, that time Connor Supin-Casey, he's sitting in that soft spot of the zone. Couldn't really get anything there, so he moves off schedule and moves to the right side of the sideline, or I should say the left side, and he picks up a nice first down.
Quante Watts almost got his hand on it. Now here's a handoff. Left side, off tackle, and a decent gain for Colleyville after the 8-yard reception by Supin-Casey, and this one will move the sticks by Bennett. A 7-yard gain for Bennett. Bodie Weaver, who is 13, has 13 completions on the night. This time will take it himself and use his legs. He spun down after a gain of about a yard.
Yep, that time he tries to get to that right side. And the Cougars saw it the entire way, and they all route to the football and do a good job of keeping him for a short game.
We've reached the 9-minute mark in the fourth quarter. Colleyville trails by a touchdown. 2nd down and 9 for the Panthers. Colin Bennett moves from the left to the right of Bodie Weaver. He exits the backfield. Weaver throws to the near side. Supin-Casey catches. He's cornered towards the sideline and thrown out of bounds. The tackle made on the near sideline by Preston Randall, the linebacker for Seguin. But a decent gain for Supin-Casey out past the 40.
Panthers are doing a really good job on this drive. They got 2 first downs, and then they're keeping everything ahead of schedule. So now it's going to be a 3rd and 3. So they're doing a good job of just picking up those yards and making sure everything is short when it comes to 3rd down.
3rd down and 3 for Colleyville. Need the 45-yard line to keep this drive going. Of course, they have 4th down to work with if they need it. Just over 8 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Movement at the snap. Flag is thrown. They'll have a free play. He throws deep towards the far sideline. Jump ball over the head of the receiver. It is Sunwall. Lucas Sunwall wanted a PI play. Probably a good no call. It seemed like both guys were just jumping up for the ball. But it looks like Colleyville will still have the benefit of the other penalty.
Yeah, and I think it was a little too high for both players as well, so it probably wasn't catchable. So good no call by the referee there. But Bodie Weaver, he notices, oh, he's offsides. Let me get a free play. Let me just take a shot downfield to one of my go-to guys and Lucas Sunwall. Let me give him a chance. He does give him a chance. He throws it up in the air. It's just a little bit too high. But they pick up a 1st down with the penalty.
1st down for Colleyville. A handoff. Good patience from Bennett to wait for his blockers. And he is shoved out of bounds past midfield. Tackle made by Deshaun Marable. And Bennett has a 1st down to the 47-yard line.
Yep, that time Bennett, he moves out to that outside. And then he's going to pick up a nice chunk on 1st down to put them in position on 2nd and short and 3rd and short moving forward.
Timeout is called. Looks like the officials were calling for it. I didn't see if a team called this timeout. But it looks like as we'll stop the clock and we'll step aside. 7:46 to go in the 4th quarter. Colleyville driving down by a touchdown. You're watching high school football action on Tradio.
American Power. Texas Drive. Classic Chevrolet. #1 in the world. Limited time. A special selection of new Chevys. More than anyone. All priced below market value. Plus, pre-owned values are up again. We're paying.
Bodie Weaver out of the shotgun with 185 passing yards to his name tonight here on 2nd down. With under 8 to go in the 4th quarter, trying to evade pressure. He does break a tackle, gets the 1st down, and he goes down to a kneeling slide near the 35-yard line, and a 1st down for Bodie Weaver and the Panthers.
Bodie Weaver doing it again with his legs. He doesn't like what he sees downfield. He's scrambling. You can see it here on this replay here. He's serving. He doesn't really see anything, so he tucks it. He's going to look again. No, I don't like what I see. He tucks it. He runs. He picks up another 1st down, and he's on 80 rushing yards for the day.
He steps up in the pocket, throws, contested ball, brought down, dropped, nearly intercepted, and incomplete. Both players had a chance for that ball, and it ultimately falls to the turf.
Yeah, that time Super Casey should have hauled that one in. It looked like he was going to haul it in, and he drops it. Then it looks like the defensive back is going to have a chance to catch it as well. Both guys wearing number 8. Actually, it was a good defensive play. He breaks up the pass, and he actually had it in his hands. If he hauls that in, he takes that back home for 6. There was nobody that was going to catch him on that one. The Panthers get a big break on that.
Cariel Brown, the defensive back, matched up again with his fellow number 8, Connor Supin-Casey, on the near sideline. 2nd down and 10. A handoff, faked it. It's Bodie Weaver up the middle. Runs into 2 defenders and pushes them both aside. Falls forward for a 1st down.
Bodie Weaver again. He's putting his run game on his back. Everybody in the Colleyville Heritage Panthers run game is averaging over 4 yards per carry, including Bodie Weaver, who is leading the team in rushing again tonight with 88 rushing yards, and he's averaging 5 yards per carry.
They need a touchdown, not necessarily right here, but soon. 6:50 to go in regulation, down by 7. Spins away, and he's wrapped up, loses the ball. Seguin, no, he's called down. Bodie Weaver is ruled to have been down. No fumble on the play, or else Seguin could have been off to the races. Adrian Contreras was the closest one to the ball.
I don't know about that one. I didn't think he was down. The Panthers get another big break. That is back-to-back scary plays that could have went the other way. The Panthers are going to really have to do a good job of taking care of that ball, holding on to the football and catching the football in the receiving game.
Bryson Green, the linebacker, was surprised at the call that Bodie Weaver was down. It does result in a loss, but not the loss of possession for Colleyville. Loss of 5. Now he hurdles it towards the end zone, and a one-handed attempt. It is incomplete. Looking for Lucas Sunwall at the 5-yard line. It'll now be 3rd and 15.
He had him on that crossing route right down the middle. Look here, he sees him on the crossing route. He just needs to lead him more inside. It's a little bit too outside. If he puts that ball more center, Super Casey has an easy grab and another touchdown on the night. It's another missed opportunity, but let's see if the Panthers can come back and get something here on 3rd down. They're in 4-down territory.
Need to get to the 18-yard line. Bodie Weaver with a fairly clean pocket. Now pursued from behind. This time he fumbled it for sure. Does Seguin have it? At the 30-yard line, it looks like they do. They thought they had a fumble 2 plays ago. This time, no question. Second lost fumble of the game for Bodie Weaver. And now Colleyville up against the sticks with 6:07 to go in the 4th quarter, trailing by 7, and they'll have to go back on defense.
Yeah, that drive was just pretty sloppy. Fumbles, drop passes that almost led to a pick 6, missed opportunities. Colleyville just didn't execute on that drive, and hopefully it does not come back to haunt them, because now we only have 6 minutes left. This is a crucial stop and crucial stand here for the Panthers defense.
So 6:07 to go for Seguin. To hand off to Kadarius Trotter. He has a lane, stutter steps, and falls at the 35-yard line. A lot of pushing at the end of that play, but it looks like Trotter has himself a gain of 6.
This defense is going to really have to stand strong. Like I mentioned, time is ticking now. It's not really on your side. You have to get a stop soon to give your offense another chance. Somebody's got to make a play. The Logan twins or Isaiah Omar, who is it going to be? Or is it going to be one of the linebackers?
36-yard line, Trotter, the lone running back, next to Chevy Andrews. He's up over 50 rushing yards tonight. Will they give it back to Trotter? No. Chevy Andrews keeps it, gets away from one man, fumbles it, gets it back. Chevy Andrews with the 3rd quarterback fumble tonight, his first, and he falls immediately right back on it, but it is a loss of 6. The 6 yards that they just got on 1st down, so it'll be 3rd and 10.
Yes, you see here on that one, that was Colin Bennett. He sniffs it out right there. Oh, no, that's not Colin Bennett. I'm sorry. That was, couldn't see exactly who that was. That was number 13, Demarius Logan. I asked who is it going to be that makes a play. It was Demarius Logan there who forces the fumble. He has 2 block punts on the day, one that actually counted. He stepped up in this second half. Let's see if they can get a stop here on 3rd down.
First team All-District a year ago. Big play, 3rd and 10. Andrews steps up, throws to Jamani Smith, his favorite target, gets away from the defender, yards after catch, converting on the 1st down. 10th reception of the night for Jamani Smith.
Wow, he makes another big play. And again, it's man coverage. Colleyville does not want to give up the big play. He's hit them with the big play multiple times in this game. You see the respect that they have for him. They just give him too much room. They throw a short pass to him, and they let him pick it up those yards after the catch.
He's got 241 receiving yards tonight. Jamani Smith,
wow.
4 touchdowns. And he comes up big on 3rd and 10. So 1st down now with 4:03 to go in the 4th quarter. Seguin leading by a touchdown. Quick throw right back to Jonovan Polk this time. And he is wrapped up past midfield. The tackle made by Bennett. Colin Bennett playing both ways after he's taken a handful of carries on offense. He makes the stop there on Polk. It's a gain of about 9 yards for Seguin.
Yeah, and those type of plays right there hurt you. One, they get a good completion and a good chunk on 1st down. They pick up 9 yards, so now they only need 1 yard to pick it up. 2, they keep the clock going because they're staying in bounds. So here, honestly, you might want to give up the 1st down and try it again on a new set of downs.
3:15 to go in the 4th quarter. Second down and short for Seguin. Here's the shotgun snap. Give it to Trotter. Breaks away from one man in the backfield and then is wrapped up right near the sticks. In fact, that was Isaac Bly with the carry for the Seguin Cougars. Will they give him the first down? I don't think so. I think he's about a half yard short.
Yeah, I don't think he got it there, but it's looking like just third and half a yard, which is fairly easy for the Cougars to pick up. It's going to be really difficult for this Panthers defense to get a stop right here on third and about half a yard. It's going to take some real strength and some real push from that defensive line. That's why I was saying I think they should allow them to get that first down and try it again on a new set of downs, because now the clock is just going to keep moving.
They bring in an extra offensive lineman. That's Dale Randall's lined up in the near side of the offensive line. Will they run it his way? Yes, they do. A pitch play, but it's called dead. They had an extra O lineman on the right side, and they try to run to the strong side, but it's called dead. A timeout before this 3rd and 1. The clock stops at 2 minutes and 15 seconds in the 4th quarter, with Colleyville trailing by a touchdown. 35-28, Seguin driving down the field, trying to both pick up some yardage, maybe pick up some points, perhaps most importantly, waste some clock. And again, 2:15 to go in the 4th. We'll see what Seguin does coming out of the timeout. They've been so solid with Chevy Andrews throwing to Jamani Smith, who's got 10 catches for 241 yards. 4 touchdowns. Will they go back his way, or they just try to plunge it up the middle? They did a pitch play was the call before the timeout. They bring Dale Randall's back out again. The offensive lineman lined up on the right side of the offensive line. Jonathan Polk, the wide receiver, on the near side. It's a pitch play. The weak side goes through the arms of Trotter. He falls on it back at the 40-yard line. It'll be 4th and 14 for Seguin, and will hit the 2-minute stoppage.
Wow. The Panthers get a big break here. Here, the Cougars are just trying to be too cute. They throw a toss pass, and it gets bobbled, and he just has to fall on the football to keep them from completely losing and getting bad field position. So great way to fall on it, and the Panthers get a big break. All the Cougars needed to do was just plunge it up the middle, maybe a quarterback sneak, or hand it off to the fullback, hand it off to the running back up the middle, but instead they get cute, they throw a toss pass, and it comes back and it bites them. Now this Panthers offense is going to have another chance.
So 2 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. It looks like Colleyville will have at least one more chance with the ball, with Seguin likely punting it away on 4th and 14. Here's the thing for Seguin. They've tried to punt twice, and both times they botched it. A blocked punt and a bobbled snap. They've not actually been able to cleanly get a punt away tonight. And on the biggest situation where they really need to flip the field here, there's nobody back to receive. So if Polk can just punt it away, it could roll for a while. He just needs to get it away. And he does. It's not a very deep kick. It lands at the 39 and grabbed in the air by A.J. Horace. And so Colleyville will have decent field position. Not as good as if they blocked the punt, but at least Seguin gets it away, and Colleyville has a chance with 1:53 to go.
Yeah, you need 61 yards in 1 minute and 53 seconds. We know how explosive this Panthers offense is. It really doesn't take them much time to get going and scoring. We've seen the big plays tonight. So it's time for somebody to make a play. Lucas Sunwall, Connor Supankezi, Trevi Preisha, who is it going to be? Who's going to step up and make this play for the offense? Or will it be Bodie Weaver with his legs? That's a possibility as well.
Seguin rattled off 4 minutes off the clock in their drive, but they were unable to get points. It's a one-score game still. Handoff over left guard. Decent gain for Gabe Bess out to the 45-yard line. The clock runs at 1:46 and counting. Gain of 5 for Bess. They need a touchdown here. Bodie Weaver drops back, looks left, has a man out of the backfield, goes through the hands of Bess. He could have had some room to run if he had gotten past the linebacker, and I think he would have, but it's incomplete.
Oh, man, that play has been there all game long. They did connect earlier, in the first quarter, but that's been there all game long. Bodie Weaver sees it here on this one. He's one-on-one with the linebacker, and Best is just not able to hold on to it, and that is a crucial drop in the fourth quarter.
Quante Watts, the closest linebacker to it. Here's 3rd down and 5. Weaver pump fakes, flag is thrown, and he is sacked. First sack of the night for Seguin. John Harding brings him down. If the penalty is for holding, it'll only help Seguin that much more. It'll be 4th and a long ways for Colleyville with 1:30 to go. At least the holding penalty stops the clock for Colleyville. Decline the penalty to make it 4th down.
As you see there, there's the hold right there on number 75. That is DeMarshe Logan. Wasn't able to get a clean block on, and that eventually gave up the sack. But let's see what they decide to do. They're going to decline it, of course, because it'll be 4th down.
They gave him a decent forward progress on the play because the ball spotted at the 39-yard line. So only a loss of about 5, maybe 6 on the play, which would set up 4th and 11. Maybe 4th and 10, we'll call it, because they don't quite need to get to midfield. They need to get to the 49. So 4th and 10 for Colleyville. 1:30 to go in the fourth quarter. They're going to run the clock. So the clock is running here. 1:25 and going down. Huge 4th down play. Weaver takes the snap. Steps up, throws over the middle, has his man. Trevi Preicha spins through a tackle and gets to the 40. Huge completion on 4th and 10 when they needed it most.
Huge play right there by Trevi Preicha. They see his cover too. They get it right down the middle in that soft side of the zone. Right down the middle.
Gain of 21 to Trevi Preicha, who has a touchdown tonight. That one was even bigger. Weaver again in the pocket, throws over the middle, incomplete, nearly intercepted. Looking for, I'm not sure if it was Supin Casey or Sunwall. It lands in between the two. It's incomplete. 2nd and 10. The clock stops at 59 seconds.
Still plenty of time. All you need is 40 yards. 40 yards, you really don't need to take a shot down the field unless it's there. Just pick up those big chunks and set yourself up in the red zone.
Supin Casey, the wide receiver on the near sideline. Weaver takes this snap. Under pressure, spins underneath the tackle. He's still got it. Throws back over to Supin Casey, who's wide open. He walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Colleyville.
Wow, what a play by Bodie Weaver. Bodie Weaver bringing his magic every single week. Oh, my goodness. How did he get out of that sack? Let's check this replay out right here. Bodie Weaver gets out of a sack. He throws it to Connor Supakase, who is wide open for the touchdown. Clutch. Again, this is why Bodie Weaver is the best quarterback in the district. My goodness, how did he get out of that sack?
48 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. They need the PAT to tie at 35 points apiece. A 40-yard touchdown pass. And once Weaver saw his man, it was easy from there. They had lost Supin Casey beyond the defensive backfield. Nobody on him, and he jogs in for his easiest touchdown of the season and his second of the night.
Yeah, those two have connected multiple times today, and that one was the biggest of the game in the clutch in the most important time. What a play. I didn't even think he was going to get out of that. I thought he was sacked. I thought he was going to move on to the next play. All he needed was a little bit more time. He makes it happen by evading the sack, and he finds his open man.
Landon Dressel on to tie this game with the PAT. Here's the snap. It looks good. The kick is up and through, and we are tied at 35 points apiece with 48 seconds to go. What a ball game it's been. Colleyville trailed 20-0 in this game. They came back within one score by halftime. They took a lead earlier in the second half, gave up the lead, tied it again, went down again, tied it again, and here we are at 35 each.
Yeah, we have a very good ball game here. This is playoff football. We talked about the implications that lie on the line. This is playoff football right now in October. You got to play your best football here if you want a shot at getting into the playoffs. This is a very important game for the Panthers. It's also important for the Cougars as well, but really important for tiebreaker aspirations with the Panthers. And then you also have another tight ball game for first place in the district with Argyle and Mansfield Summit. Argyle is now up 25-20 with just under a minute left to play, just like us. So they have another tight ball game. We'll see how that one finishes out.
Crazy games around the district. This one huge for a Colleyville team that has not missed the postseason in 2 decades. If they can make it back a game this season, they're running 19 straight seasons having made the postseason. But if the season ended today, they would not be in. But if they win tonight, that situation would change, and then they would be in if the season ended after today. If they win against a team that's a half game ahead of them in the standings. 48 seconds to go. Landon Dressel will kick it away and hope that they can go to overtime against Seguin. This one back to Jonathan Polk. He will take a knee, and Seguin will take over the 25-yard line. Now, how aggressive will the Cougars be with 1 timeout and 48 seconds to go in the 4th quarter?
I think you have to be aggressive. Do you really want to go to overtime? 48 seconds is enough time. As long as you don't get any negative plays, I think that they'll keep their foot on the gas. Look for them to go with the short passes to their main guy who has over 240 yards in this ball game. You should expect to see that, especially on this first play.
Jamani Smith, 10 catches, 241 yards. Let's see if Chevy Andrews looks his way. Steps through the pocket under pressure. He just chucks it out of bounds to avoid a loss. It'll be 2nd and 10 for Seguin with 41 seconds to go.
Right, this play here will determine how aggressive they'll go moving forward in the rest of this 4th quarter. Also, that incompletion stops the clock, so this could work in the Panthers' favor as well. Let's see what happens here on 2nd down. This is crucial.
Especially with Seguin's trouble punting tonight, they don't really want to get into a 4th down situation. 41 seconds to go. Colleyville has 2 timeouts left. Seguin has 1. Here's the snap to Andrews. Drops back. Under pressure. He gets rid of it, or did he? They fall on it just to make sure it's not a fumble. They say incomplete pass. And so that stops the clock at 34 seconds.
Yeah, good thing that was an incompletion, because if it's a fumble, the clock is going to continue to run. You see here the pressure gets there. That is number 13, Demarius Logan, again gets to the quarterback. It looked like it was a fumble, but they're going to call it an incomplete pass, and that will work in the Panthers' favor because now it's 3rd and 10. The Cougars are going to have to pick this up, because if they don't, Colleyville is going to get a chance to get the ball again, or let's see what happens with the punt if it gets to that situation.
Yeah, they finally did get their first successful punt off on their last drive. It wasn't a great punt, but at least flipped the field somewhat, although Colleyville didn't worry about it. They traveled the length of the field, taking only about 1 minute and 10 seconds off the clock in order to score the tying touchdown. Now, they'll have less time here if they do get the ball back, and who knows, maybe Seguin converts on 3rd and 10. Even if they don't, Colleyville will likely only have the ball back with 20 seconds or thereabouts, maybe even less. So we're not talking about a bona fide chance to score and take the lead, but a chance nonetheless, perhaps. Again, 34 seconds on the clock right now.
Yeah, still some time, and let's just see what happens here on that 3rd down. This is going to be an interesting call here for the Cougars head coach. What does he have dialed up on offense? You have a receiver who has 241 yards in Jelani Smith. So let's see if they go to him.
Smith with 10 catches tonight. He is split out towards the near sideline in the slot. There's one wide receiver more towards the outside for Seguin. That's Chase Anderson. So Smith in the slot. Chevy Andrews doesn't look his way. He goes to Polk, who makes the catch for the 1st down. Out to the 37-yard line. Clock stops at 29 seconds. But most importantly, they move the sticks.
Yeah, that was a big conversion for the Cougars. And now they're in an interesting spot. With 29 seconds left, how aggressive will they be you're not really in bad field position. You're one big play away from having a chance at a Hail Mary. So let's see what they decide to do the rest of this way on offense.
29 seconds to go, 1st and 10 for Andrews. 4-man rush for Colleyville. Steps through the traffic and will just run it out of bounds for a gain of 3. Stop the clock at 23 seconds for Seguin's offense.
Yep, that's what they want to do. Just pick up some chunk yardages and get as close to about midfield as you can get, maybe a little bit past midfield, somewhere near the 45, the 40-yard line, and give your quarterback a chance to launch it into the end zone. That's all you want is a chance. And when you have a guy that has over 241 yards, hey, you do have a chance.
Yeah. Jamani Smith, that man, is split in the slot again. Chevy Andrews pumps, is wrapped up, and he's going to be brought down for a sack at the 35-yard line. The clock at 15 seconds, 14 seconds. It may just run out and head to overtime. It'll be 3rd down if they take another snap. It looks like they won't. And we are headed, well, no, maybe they will take another snap. Might as well. Under center and spikes it with no time in the clock. So that's it. We're going to overtime here at Mustang Panther Stadium, tied at 35 apiece. What a game it has been, and we are not done yet. A critical game that could decide a playoff spot. We'll take a quick commercial break and come back for the extra period here at Mustang Panther Stadium, live on Tradio.
From your first paycheck to your first home, starting your own business or celebrating your retirement, we're here for all of life's important moments. At Simmons Bank, our modern banking solutions make managing your finances effortless and efficient, so you can focus on what matters most. Simmons Bank, proud supporter of the moments that matter. SimmonsBank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender, all accounts subject to approval.
Well, the coaches meeting at midfield before this overtime period. That's Joe Gordon and Jerry Edwards. We'll have both teams start from the 25 in the overtime period. 35-35 between Colleyville and Seguin. This has been a crazy game of momentum changes, lead changes. Seguin has had 3 different leads that have evaporated. Colleyville has had 1 lead of its own, and neither team able to pull away. We thought Seguin had it 20-0 partway through the first half, but that lead wasn't big enough. And now we're headed to overtime.
Yeah, and very interesting rules here in high school overtime. So each team gets a possession starting at the opponent's 10-yard line, and there is no clock. So interesting. And this is the second time that the Cougars have been in overtime on this exact same field, so this is not unfamiliar to them.
Since this stadium is used by both Grapevine High and Colleyville Heritage, they both have their home games here, and Seguin played road games against both Grapevine and Colleyville, which means they've played at this stadium twice this year already, including tonight. And their first trip here went to overtime, and they were victorious in that overtime game, 28-25 over Grapevine. Can they get 2 overtime wins in the same stadium? Colleyville will take the ball first at the 25-yard line. Bodie Weaver will be in the shotgun. He's got Gabe Best to his left, 3 wide for the Panthers. First play of overtime. It's a fake handoff to Best. Weaver sprints through the middle, and he slides underneath a tackle. A gain of about 8 yards for Bodie Weaver on first down.
Yep, keeping them on schedule. Another big run for Colleyville, and another fake handoff here. It's a design run. Bodie Weaver shifts to that right side, finds that nice hole, and he gets an 8-yard gain and keeps them ahead of schedule.
They'll mark him back where he started his slide at the 19-yard line. So just 6 yards on the play. Gabe Best was wrapped up for a moment right at the line of scrimmage, but spins out of the hold of Quante Watts and turns ahead near the first down marker to the 16-yard line. They need to get to that white stripe at the 15, and he's just shy by a yard. 3rd down now for Colleyville.
This is the first possession of overtime. No matter what, Seguin has its own possession to come afterwards to try to match or do better than whatever Colleyville does. 3rd and 1 from the 16. Weaver takes the snap, looks right. He's going to run around. Now looks again towards the end zone. He throws towards the sideline. Incomplete. A flag is thrown. It didn't look like there was an ineligible receiver downfield. The only guys down there were wide receivers or tight ends. Dax Hebeson was downfield, but he's an eligible receiver, so I don't think it's an ineligible man downfield penalty.
I don't think that should be the case. And then the flag was thrown pretty late, too, so I don't think it was a hold either.
Yeah, it was right as Bodie Weaver threw the ball, and that timing sometimes is ineligible man downfield. And since it looked like a design run play, really, so it wouldn't have been surprising if there was an ineligible man downfield, but I didn't think there actually was.
No.
You got to be more than a couple yards beyond the line of scrimmage. It looks like it is a penalty on Colleyville because they're talking with the Seguin coaches as if they're giving them the decision whether they want to accept or decline. It was a 3rd and 1. They've not moved the ball in any direction. So it was ineligible man downfield. That was the call. And they declined the penalty. So 4th and 1 for Colleyville. If they don't convert, then Seguin would get the ball at the 25, and any points would end the game.
That's an interesting decision by the Cougars head coach to decline that one, because all Colleyville needs is 1 yard.
But on 4th down, if they don't get it, it's almost not quite game over. Here's a free play. They're going to get the first down, maybe more. Touchdown to the back of the end zone. It's Connor Supin-Casey again.
Bodie Weaver again does a nice job of drawing the defense off sides, and he knows he has a free play here. He sees it. He just throws that nice ball on a double team to Connor Supin-Casey again in the clutch in overtime, and gives the Panthers their first lead since trailing 21-14.
For the PAT, Landon Dressel bangs it through. 7-point lead for Colleyville. Now Seguin needs a touchdown or they'll lose in a comeback thriller. In the first overtime from Mustang Panther Stadium, Bodie Weaver with his 3rd touchdown pass of the night to Connor Supin-Casey. 3 TD catches for Supin-Casey tonight. And he had the tying one at the end of regulation and the overtime touchdown as well.
Yeah, those two have really made some big plays when the team needed it. They've done a fantastic job, and you see Coach Jerry Edwards was fired up there on the sideline. He loves what he was seeing.
First play for Seguin. They go for the big hitter. It is incomplete, looking for Jonathan Polk in double coverage, but it was really only Bennett who had the play on it. Colin Bennett makes the pass breakup, and it's incomplete on first down.
Colin Bennett making big plays on both sides of the ball. You see here, it's man-to-man coverage in the clutch. He's right there, and he just knocks that ball away. He's in great position, great technique. He does a fantastic job of keeping the receiver from hauling that one in.
By the way, Bodie Weaver, 241 passing yards, 5 touchdowns tonight, nearly 100 rushing yards as well. His counterpart, Chevy Andrews, trying to engineer the tying touchdown. He throws to the outside, to the 5-yard line. Did he hang on and get to the end zone? Yes, he did. It's Jamani Smith again. His 5th touchdown catch of the night.
Wow. And that one's going to put him over 260 yards on the evening. This play here is just, hey, I'm going to throw it to my best player in the clutch. It's the game on the line. I'm throwing it up to my best player, and I'm giving him a chance. He's got 4 touchdowns already. Let me see if he can go get number 5. And they're going to go for 2 here.
They're going to go for the win. They're going to go for the game right here. Timeout is called before the 2-point conversion try. They're going to go for the win. If they get in, victory for Seguin. If Colleyville stops him, it's a Panthers win, unless they change their mind
but I have a feeling that Joe Gordon and Seguin are not going to change their mind. They're going to go for 2, and the game's going to end on this next play.
Yeah, they've been aggressive for the most part of this game. I don't see why they're not going to roll the dice again. I think they're ready to get out of here.
They missed a 2-point conversion earlier tonight, or else maybe they would have won in regulation. They'll go for 2 to end the game in the first overtime after Jamani Smith's 5th touchdown catch of the night, 266 yards on 12 catches and 5 touchdown receptions. All 5 touchdowns that Chevy Andrews has thrown tonight have been caught by Jamani Smith, including an 81-yard score. Even the first play of the game was a 40-yard pump and go. Not for a touchdown. That was just the first play of the game. And Jamani Smith has been untouchable this entire night. Does he get them enough to win the game? Or will they go for the PAT? No, it looks like they're going to go for 2. No, I think they are going to. Well, what are they going to do? Nobody can tell.
They're going for 2.
They're going for 2. It's Jonathan Polk takes the snap. Polk up the middle. Is he stuffed? Yes, he is. Colleyville wins it on a 2-point stop. Ball game over. The Panthers win it 42-41 in overtime.
Wow, what a stance by the Panthers defensive line. They stayed strong. They stayed tough. They got pushed back, and they stuffed the design run from the Cougars, and they pick up a big win, and now they are back in the playoff picture.
They trailed 20-0 in this ball game. 5 touchdown passes from Bodie Weaver to match the 5 touchdown passes from Chevy Andrews. The 2 quarterbacks went wild in this game, but it's a defensive stop on a 2-point try that makes the difference.
Yes, look at that great stance right there. They don't even allow any push from that Cougars offensive line. They stay firm, they stay strong, and they get the much-needed stop and a well-deserved win. What a ball game by both teams. This was playoff football.
That was Isaiah Omar in the front of your screen taking off his helmet. He just came off of injury, was able to play tonight. And Colleyville, which has made the postseason 19 straight years, they were out of the playoff picture when the game began tonight. With this win now, they're now back in the top 4, a chance to go 20 in a row with a huge win for tiebreaker purposes and overall standings purposes. What an absurd game here tonight. Final score, 42-41. Colleyville wins it.
Yes, what a ball game. Like I said, this was playoff football. It came early. Christmas came early for us today in this one.
My goodness. Colleyville with a victory. They get 2 in a row after the bye week. 5 touchdowns from Bodie Weaver tonight. He went for 241 yards through the air. Connor Supin-Casey with 3 touchdown receptions, joined by Lucas Sunwall and Trevi Pryship with a touchdown catch each as well. Bodie Weaver also had a touchdown run tonight and just under 90 rushing yards on the evening. Crazy numbers for Colleyville's offense. Similar for Seguin, with Chevy Andrews going for over 250 yards through the air, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, 5 TD catches for Jamani Smith, and 266 yards in a loss for the Cougars. They couldn't run the ball well enough, only about 50 yards rushing for their leading guy, Trotter, and less than 100 yards rushing on the game as a team. And when they needed 2 yards the most, they didn't go to Jamani Smith. They didn't throw it his way. They tried to run it, and they got stuffed.
Yeah, I honestly would have went back to Smith. Throw it to your best player. I mean, he's been dominating the entire game. Why not go back to him? And, hey, if he doesn't get it, you shake their hand and you go home. If he does, hey, he's been doing it the entire way. You got to live and you got to die with your best players. And that time, they opted to just go strong and try to force their way into the end zone. But great stance and great stuff by this Panthers defensive line.
Colleyville improves to 4-3 on the season. They're up to 3-2 in district. Seguin drops to 3-3 in district. Colleyville with the win tonight. They'll be a huge game that'll come up big for tiebreaker purposes, perhaps. They're going to be on the road, by the way, next week. at Mansfield Summit, which do you have a score in that undefeated game
Yes,
with Argyle?
I do. So Argyle held on. They held on to the lead 25-20, and they won, and they remain undefeated. And Summit suffers their first loss on the season. So we're going to get a hungry Mansfield Summit team next week on the road at Mansfield.
At Mansfield. That's 7 p.m. next week. You'll be on the call. Will Connerly will return on the play-by-play next week. I'm Josh Warden filling in for Will. It's been a lot of fun here in this game tonight in a thriller, an overtime win for Colleyville, 42-41, and you couldn't really ask for a much more exciting game than this tonight.
Oh, no, you couldn't. This is what high school football is all about. This is why you love Friday Night Lights.
Well, my thanks to Trey Bell with Tradio. A great job by Zach Jones, our technical director tonight, and for Tremel Jeffers. I'm Josh Warden signing off here from Mustang Panthers Stadium, where the Colleyville Panthers win a comeback thriller, coming back from 20-0 to send this game into overtime and get a defensive stop on a 2-point try to win it by a point. Final score once again tonight, the Seguin Cougars 41. And the Colleyville Panthers 42. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. We say goodnight from Grapevine. It's been a terrific game right here. You watched it live on Tradio.